Your main test division is Dr. Marcel Becker. Your judges and referee is Chad Shepard, Marcel Brown, Don Franks, and David Phillips. This show is presented by Tom Anderson Presents. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our first fighter, Arabad Ahmed.
Making his way to the cage for our first fight of the night is rising prospect out of one of the most renowned gyms in American Kickboxing Academy, aka. This is Arabad Ahmed. Just 3 fights into his amateur career, Ahmed is already making serious noise in the regional circuit. Sitting at 2-1, Ahmed is fresh off of an impressive first-round TKO victory less than 1 month ago at 209 beatdown. The quick turnaround, he says no problem. He tells us that the last fight went even better than planned, and he's trained even harder for this one. Ahmed is a fighter who has never seen the judges' scorecards. All 3 of his bouts have ended in the first round. 2 wins, 1 by TKO, 1 by submission, and even his single loss, also by submission, back in April of last year. Since then, it's been nothing but growth, discipline, and domination. He calls his style technical aggression, and as a former national champion in both Muay Thai and MMA in his native India. Tonight, he looks to keep that finishing streak alive and shows that his last performance was no fluke. Walking out in his free Kane shirt, Arabad has spoken openly about how much Cain Velasquez has influenced his growth as a fighter, and you can tell that he is proud to wear those colors and even prouder to represent the team at AKA. This is a very exciting fight to open up the night here, Hector. Both of these guys coming in, as we mentioned. This is likely not going to see the distance here, as Ahmed looks to finish that dominant finishing streak.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on this with this matchup. They both come from great camps. Arabaz trains at AKA, as you can see from his free Kane shirt, and it's going to be a great fight.
And now, his opponent, Saeed Anwari.
Now walking out in the red corner, making his long-awaited return to MMA, we welcome Saeed Anwari, a seasoned striker and wrestler who's stepping into the cage tonight representing Ultimate Fitness, claiming Team Alpha Male. Originally from Afghanistan, Anwari brings a competitive background that spans multiple disciplines. He's 3-0 in amateur boxing back home and also holds a second-round submission victory in MMA, though that win did come nearly 6 years ago. Tonight marked his official return to the cage, and he is looking to make up for lost time. Training consistently over 6 years in both wrestling and boxing, Anwari made the move to Sacramento in 2020 and has since sharpened his skills alongside some of the most respected athletes in the game. He acknowledges his opponent's striking abilities, but Anwari is confident in his game plan and sees his path to victory on the ground and predicting a first-round submission tonight. So, to build on from, obviously, the first-round finishing capabilities of his opponent. So I think this is going to be a very high-paced fight. He credits his growth and preparation to Team Alpha Male, and he wanted to give a special thanks to his older brother for the support and encouragement that has fueled his return to action. He is poised, prepared, and he is ready to make a statement. Saeed Anwari steps into the cage tonight, looking to remind everyone just how dangerous he is despite the 6-year layoff.
Yeah, I'm excited to see both these guys throw leather. They both have a very aggressive style, and we're going to see who implements their game plan best.
This fight is a catchweight at 140 pounds. These rounds will be 3 2-minute rounds. So as we stated, not a lot of time for these guys to work. So I'm expecting a very high-paced fight filled with plenty of action. And yeah, what a way to kick off the card here tonight, Hector.
Yeah, you definitely want to have the first fight wake the people up a little bit. And I think this is a recipe for that.
And there we have our second fighter entering the cage as we get ready to start with Garrett Fairchick.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to W3 Sacramento Grade 1 Top Prospect Series. Produced by Tom Anderson Presents, which spent out at the 140 pounds, 200 pounds introducing first, the blue corner. And he fights with 7, weight 139 3/4 pounds, with amateur with 2 first round finishes out of AKA. He fights out of San Jose, California, Ahmed. Due to the corner across the game, money out the red corner. At 5'6", weighing 139.5 pounds. King is amateur MMA debut for Team and Alpha Male. Fighting out of Oak Grove, California, Sunny Faber and Rory.
We have Ahmed in the blue corner and Anwari in the red. Anwari wasting no time controlling the center, but Ahmed able to push him straight back against the cage and with that body lock, wasting no time, as we mentioned. Big lift and a dump for Ahmed.
Excellent slam by Ahmed. He set it up with the cross, and it came out nicely. Now he's implementing his will.
Beautiful job passing to mount for Ahmed. And Anwari's got to be careful here. You know, he's giving up his back, just as I was about to mention. Overbucking just a little bit. Gives up his back. And Ahmed doing a great job controlling. He has both hooks in, already looking to set up that rear naked choke. I can't see from his vantage, but there's your tap. And we said this one might not see the second round, and yeah, did not fail.
Both gentlemen delivered on this. They started off really fast. And Ahmed got exactly where he wanted to get to. Wasted no time whatsoever. So Ahmed's a national champion in India with MMA and Muay Thai. And he definitely showed it in the short amount of time that he was out there. Super aggressive. Wasted no time whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something that he said he set out to do. You know, he wanted to continue his streak, and he did that here tonight, looking very proud of himself as he advances. Yeah, here we see in the replays a little bit. Immediately takes it back. Beautiful job controlling, keeping both of those hooks in, and he wasted no time on sinking in that rear naked choke. Beautiful job from Ahmed here tonight.
And Ahmed looks to stay active on the scene, so now that he's got out of here quick, he's probably going to look to take another fight real soon, taking no damage whatsoever.
Yeah, he certainly took no damage in that fight. As we mentioned, less than 4 weeks since his last one. And yeah, a very dominant athlete, now moving to 3-1 as we go to Garrett Furtick for the result.
Joe brings out the tap. Official time, 48 seconds of round number 1. Declaring your winner by submission on high.
And there we have it, our first fight of the night. A successful win for Ahmed. And yeah, like I say, a beautifully dominant performance there. No need for the full 2-minute rounds. We're talking about how short they were, but yeah, no time wasted there from the blue corner in Arbaz Ahmed.
Yeah, Arbaz predicted it, and he got exactly what he said he was going to do.
Okay, we may have started late, but our first fight took less than 2 minutes to get out of the way as we wait for Garrett Furtek to join us for the second fight of the night. Just wanted to thank you guys for tuning in. I know some people have had a couple complaints about the audio. We're working on that currently, and we're just excited to share the action here with you tonight. Just a reminder for those of you that are only just joining us, my name's Corey McKenna, ex-UFC athlete, and besides me is multiple-time title challenger, Combat U head director, Hector Fajardo.
Yeah, we had a late start, but this fight seemed to have made up for the time, so we should be back on track.
And just to recap for those of you that missed the running order, our next fight is a bantamweight fight with Gianni Bruzon from Bruno Lima BJJ in the blue corner against Sohail Sultani from Team Alpha Male. So this is going to be another one, young prospects, highly exciting fight. And we're just waiting for a couple technical difficulties to be ruled out and the fighters to get back to the locker room ready for us to walk out the next athletes here at the Doubletree in Sacramento, California. If you guys are watching the live stream, feel free to drop us a comment, tell us who you're looking forward to seeing most tonight, and just let us know all around how you're feeling about the fights. Fight number 2 is also another 3 2-minute rounds. It is, as we mentioned, camo sanctioned. Their rules are if you have 3 or less fights that you do 2-minute rounds and you wear shin pads, so that is why we're seeing these athletes wearing shin pads here tonight under the camo jurisdiction and rule set. Just a reminder, this is our prospect series, so these fights are all amateurs, and these are some of the biggest prospects. And we've seen time and time again, fighters get fed from, like you say, these prospect shows. We saw it with Firepower, now the A1 prospect series, into A1, who is just constantly feeding talent to the UFC. We saw Peyton Talbot, we've seen Billy Brand on Contender Series, we've seen Ernie Juarez on Contender Series, and countless others that have been signed or are going to be signed from this platform. So it's an amazing opportunity for these athletes to be able to step in here tonight and gain this experience. Garrett Furtek stepping in to announce our second fight of the night.
Now, making his way, Gianni Russo.
Making his return to competition after a full year dedicated solely to training, here comes Gianni Bruzon, stepping into the cage with a 1-1 amateur record and on a mission to make a statement tonight. A wrestler at his core, Bruzon has been grinding in the gym for over 5 years, and he made the decision to put fighting on hold last year to focus entirely on sharpening his craft across the board. He comes into this bout a more complete athlete, more disciplined and more dangerous. His prediction is that the fight ends, unfortunately and violently, for his opponent. He states that he's motivated by Dragon Ball Z's Vegeta, a common trend among tonight's fighters, as Ahmed, unsurprisingly enough, also quoted Goku. So lots of Super Saiyans looking to step in here tonight, and that is the ultimate goal for Bruzon as he comes in to the MMA cage. For Bruzon, that means constant evolution, relentless effort, and the will to dominate. He did ask to give a shout out to the sponsors who have helped him get here tonight: Selig Customs, Robin's Nest, Foster Homes, and 2 Fight Bros for standing behind him and helping make this dream a possibility. This is our second fight of the night. It's going to be, like I say, he's up against a Team Alpha Male prospect in Sohail Sultani, so this is going to be a highly contested fight against 2 very well-matched individuals. Coming out of Bruno Lima BJJ, you got to think the grappling, is going to be on display here tonight for Gianni Bruzon.
You know, you'd be surprised how many Dragon Ball Z fans get into MMA, and I'm also one of them.
Making his second amateur appearance tonight, here comes Sohail Sultani. As mentioned, he is a prospect coming out of Team Alpha Male, 1-0 as a bantamweight and eager to build off the momentum of his debut victory last May. Sultani earned a dominant unanimous decision in his first outing, but by his own admission, it wasn't quite the performance that he envisioned. He came for a finish, and tonight he says he's ready to make that statement loud and clear. Well-rounded and confident wherever the fight goes, Sultani sees his opponent's weakness in the stand-up department and said that he's keeping it smart and tactical, telling us he plans to strike, but ultimately predicts a submission finish once the fight hits the mat. Inspired by two of the sport's biggest names, Conor McGregor and Khabib, as well as the steadfast support from his parents, Sultani is stepping into this bout with purpose and a renewed focus. He says he's learned from his debut, sharpened every aspect of the game, and he's now coming in with intent to close as he seeks a finish tonight in his second MMA fight. Hector, you have experience with Sultani yourself over at Team Alpha Male. I know that you've worked a little bit with him. What do you think of Sultani's game as he steps in here tonight for his second outing?
Well, for Sahil, first and foremost, I'm glad he's back into the cage. It's been too long since his last fight, so it's good to finally get him back in here. He's a very well-rounded individual. He puts in a lot of work. He's quiet, and he looks very unassuming, but I'm telling you, this kid is dangerous, and he's a gamer.
No time wasted from Bruzon. As you mentioned, these are short rounds, and both of these guys have expressed intent for an early finish.
Yeah, Sahil has to get started just as fast because Lima is not messing around.
It's not often you see someone run across the cage at their opponent, but Bruzon has mentioned he is eager as he makes his comeback to MMA. Flurry into the single leg, and he gets Sultani down to a knee, but Sultani able to hop and regain balance, looking to potentially get top position as he sprawls down, but Bruzon relentless on that takedown entry.
Yeah, Bruzon's going for the underhook. He's trying to address him and put him into the cage. With these short rounds, it does factor because Sahil doesn't have the time to just sit there and lose the position.
Great job from Bruzon there. He's starting to implement some knees to the legs, looking to wear down Sultani, and a beautiful drop on that body lock. Heavy ground and pound from Mount as Sahil gives up his back.
Sahil needs to address these hooks. He needs to fight the hands immediately. Beautiful choke.
And Bruzon wasting no time. Beautiful control as he rides those hips, able to throw in both hooks, now in a body triangle position, and immediately starts attacking that choke. Sultani did a great job of fighting the hands and surviving. We saw in the last round how fast that choke can sink in. In that last fight, it was also the last round. But yeah, unfortunate start to the fight here for Sultani. Doing just enough to stay active, and fortunately these are short rounds. I believe we just heard the clacker. But yeah, dominance from Bruzon in this first round of this fight. Sultani's got to keep fighting, referee looking close. And these amateur fights, they don't let them go on forever, Hector. You're familiar with this. Safety first.
They will stop the fight quicker than usual because this is not a professional fight. Beautiful by Sahil.
Beautiful composure from Sahil, and the bell rings. Perhaps a couple punches after the bell. Bruzon looking very unhappy with the referee for not catching that, but great composure from the young Sohail Sultani and in the ability to reverse that position.
Bruzon is already cut in that flurry. Could have been a head clash possibly. I didn't see a strike land on that. But regardless, Bruzon won that round.
Here we see a couple of the exchanges. Bruzon straight to take Mount and landing heavy blows. He's wasting no time here. As you mentioned, both of these guys are looking to finish. Both of these have had a long layoff, and they're making that comeback. Hector, what changes would you be making in the corner of Sultani as we move into this second round? As you mentioned, he's only got 4 minutes left of this fight to work.
I feel that Sultani has to implement his grappling. His grappling is actually pretty good. But the thing is, Bruzon has good grappling as well, but Bruzon got started on everything quicker. So I'd like to see Sultani actually go out and be the first one to implement grappling.
Yeah, definitely a very dominant approach from Bruzon. You know, really just establishing dominance in both the striking and the grappling, controlling the center of the cage. I think for him, I mean, that was a perfect approach to this fight. Really just kind of big dogging Soheil.
Yes, but I feel that the energy, he spent quite a lot of energy in that first round. We have to see if he maintains it.
Yeah, and this is also the first time we've seen Sultani in deep waters, so it'll be interesting to see what that does for him as he comes into the second. Doctor coming in to take a look at that cut, which will be unfortunate because it did happen in that last exchange. You know, right as the bell rang, and Bruzon was not a happy chap about that. So he's telling the doctor he's okay and he wants to fight on. But as we mentioned, this is an amateur fight. There's, you know, none of these guys are making money. So safety comes first for these fighters. And fortunately, the doctor does rule that Bruzon is okay to continue. Great start from Soheil, immediately taking the center this time, establishing his own control.
Bruzon seems to have kind of wasted a little bit of his energy in that first, and he's now a lot more tentative. And there we go. Soheil starts the grappling exchange. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Able to get the arms locked under the, you know, around the legs of Bruzon. Bruzon looking to perhaps set up a buggy choke here. Great takedown from Soheil, but yeah, you know, Bruzon looking to set up this buggy choke. Soheil's not safe just yet, but looks to get a big slam.
Bruzon is putting everything he has into this choke. He's going for broke.
Yeah, definitely. And it'll be very impressive. I don't think we've ever seen a buggy choke in the A1 cage. But Soheil looking okay here. Not quite able to get out of the position, but definitely looking like he still has his strength about him as he looks to lift and get another slam against Bruzon.
I would like to see Sultani put a little more shoulder pressure.
Yeah, Sultani needs to walk around the head, put that knee in the face of Bruzon. Referee looking close, but Sultani's okay in this position. He looks fine. He's still walking around looking to clear. It's just one of those awkward positions to where he can't quite get his head out. You know, I'm not saying Bruzon can't get this, but so he'll definitely looking calm and composed in this position.
Bruzon might look to hold this for the entire round.
Yeah, definitely. As we mentioned, these are short rounds, and it's kind of a tricky one for the judges. I think that Sultani would win this round if we do eat up the rest of the round in this position, purely due to the significant strikes and the big takedown, couple of slams. Bruzon not really doing anything in this position.
Bruzon got the hint.
Sultani,
no.
Unfortunately, the knees landed to the spine, which is illegal. Referee does split them up. Bruzon, potentially looking to have the referee stop this. Two knees landed to the spine. Couldn't quite tell if the referee warned him after the first, but that is in the rules meeting. You cannot attack the spine. Anything to the spine, whether it's pro or amateur, is illegal, especially with knees. Doctor coming in to take a look at Bruzon. It would be a very unfortunate way to stop this fight. I think we're definitely going to be looking at a point deduction for Soheil if we do continue, but Bruzon not giving any indication to wanting to continue, and the fight is off. And Hector, no, we have to be past the second in order to go to judges' scorecards, correct?
I believe so.
So that will be a no contest or disqualification based off the referee's
referee's discretion. Correct.
Okay. A little bit of a tricky way to end a fight, but yeah, very unfortunate. Hoping Bruzon didn't take any damage. As we mentioned, amateurs all about experience. So, like I say, hopefully he walks away from this and is able to recover and is healthier. And both of these guys live to fight another day.
This is a very unfortunate way for the fight to end.
So Soheil very heated, but that was a mistake on his part. That we are told that there's no knees to the spine. Yeah, a very disappointing way for both these guys to end this fight. And never know. Maybe we run this back another day. We get to see it again.
Possibly. I definitely would like to see more of this fight. The first round came out very, very heated and a lot of action, and then the second kind of turned, but we had this unfortunate incident. and we'll see how Camo deals with this.
Here we see a replay of those knees to the spine. Referee was looking close for the submission too, so definitely unable to miss this. And we have one right there. That was the second one actually. And yeah, the referee jumps in. Bruzon immediately showing his discomfort from the strike. And very unfortunate situation for both as Garrett Furtag looks to bring the fighters in to make that decision official.
Referee Wayne Phillips, at 1 minute 58 seconds of round number 2, declare your winner by disqualification due to illegal knees to the spine. Your winner, Gianna.
And yeah, that's an unfortunate way to lose a fight and win a fight. Unfortunately, Sohail did lose that fight there. What happened there? I missed that.
Seems like they didn't want to shake hands and show any kind of sportsmanship for whatever reason.
Like I say, it's easy to question from sat out here. Perhaps those blows were very significant.
I'll let Bruzon be the judge of that. He felt that he couldn't continue, so he chose not to continue. But
yeah, like I say, that was blatantly illegal strike from Sohail. He did make the error. That's something that he needs to be aware of moving forward. Unfortunate way to lose a fight. But like we mentioned, disqualification or maybe a no contest. But I can see why the disqualification was blatant. I couldn't quite catch whether the referee warned him on the first one.
I personally would have liked a no contest and just have him run it again.
Okay, so that's our second fight of the night. Another one that didn't go the distance.
It's another fast one.
It's an unfortunate way for the fight to go, but wishing a speedy recovery to Bruzon. I would love to see those guys run it back, perhaps get the closure that they clearly need from that disgruntled lack of handshake at the end. But we have a full night ahead of us, and the only way is up. I'm just reading you guys' comments. Frank, thanks for the support, Frank the Tank. Someone asked where they can see the list of upcoming fights. The updated fight schedule is on Instagram. So if you go to A1 Combat at Instagram, you will see the latest updated fight card that is available for you guys, and it is in the correct order, so you guys will be able to see that there. Someone asked if I mentioned that the fighters are fighting for free. That is the difference between amateur and pro. Amateur is purely about experience. Professional ranks is where you start to make the money. Not necessarily the most money, but that is the difference between the two. Amateur is purely based on experience, which is why obviously, we have the shorter rounds, we have the shin guards, we have the protection and the sanctioning from the commission.
The stoppages are a lot shorter too. So
yes.
Well, we're on a I guess a finished streak with this card so far. Third one. Just to kind of preview it, I probably don't think that one's going to go the full distance either.
Yeah, definitely. We saw Arbaz Ahmed with the rear naked choke win in the first round. We did just see an unfortunate, DQ win, as we mentioned, hoping a speedy recovery for Bruzon, and I'm sure Sohail's going to be rectifying those small errors in his game with his team, and hopefully won't make that mistake again. Like I say, it was an error on his part. We can't fault Bruzon. Sohail did throw an illegal blow twice, and a very unfortunate way to end that fight. As we mentioned, knees to the spine are illegal for a reason, so Bruzon was probably in a lot of pain, and I'm hoping that he has a speedy recovery, and like I said, I'd love to see these guys run that back.
And that's why these lessons need to be learned in amateurs. That's what amateurs is for. It's it's before you do it professionally, so there's going to be a lot of growing pains, especially with the rules. It's what it's for. These guys are going to make mistakes.
Yep, and we have Garrett Fertag in the cage ready for your third fight of the night. Okay, up next we have a young debutant in Magomedkan Jitin Magomedov. I apologize if I said that wrong, but he's making his first appearance inside the cage, and he's representing the world-renowned American Kickboxing Academy, also known as AKA. At just 19 years old, Jitin Magomedov already carries the kind of pedigree that demands attention. He's a Dagestani wrestling champion with a relentless style and a deep competitive background. He enters the amateur ranks with a blueprint that's produced some of the most dominant fighters in the world. When asked about his strategy tonight, he kept it super simple. He just said, smash. So, yeah, one word, clear intentions, and he's not overthinking it. He hasn't even studied his opponent. He's just a fighter who's extremely confident in what he brings to the table. He trains under former UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez alongside coach Salim Mukidinov, who is the very person who has inspired him to become a fighter today. Magomedkan is learning from some of the best in the business. The foundation is there, the talent is there, and now we get to see how that all translates as he steps in the cage tonight.
Yeah, this is an interesting bout. More realistically, he probably said smash. The culture is set over at American Kickboxing Academy, so he's going to follow the blueprint. It's been very successful. So it'll be exciting to see another young prospect from that lineage or from that culture come in here and start his journey.
Please welcome Gilberto Rodriguez.
Okay, and in the red corner, making his fifth walk to the cage tonight, we have Gilberto Rodriguez, a gritty fighter with 2 finishes already under his belt, one by rear naked choke and one by TKO. Whilst known for his striking, Rodriguez has spent the entire camp focused on rounding out his game, working closely with Coach Tony over at Team Alpha Male to tighten up his wrestling, improve his clinch control, and sharpen his ability to get back to his feet when needed. He's sticking to the game plan tonight, expressing that it will be simply pressure, pressure, pressure. He plans to stay in his opponent's face, bully him around the cage, and although Rodriguez hasn't seen much on his opponent, he's not concerned. His confidence lies in preparation, and he expects to break his opponent down en route to a third-round ground-and-pound TKO. He says a big motivator behind his journey into MMA tonight is his family. His uncle and cousins are both professional fighters, and their path is what first inspired Rodriguez to join a gym and chase that lifestyle himself. He also gave a heartfelt thank you to his mother for the support behind the scenes and for helping make nights like this possible. Hector, you've seen a lot of, you're very familiar with Tony and Rodriguez. I was going to ask what you think of this match, but we'll ask after Garrett starts this bout because we're wasting no time on the action here tonight.
Excited to see Gilberto in here making his featherweight debut. He's been insanely active. 5 fights in a year. This is his 5th fight in a year.
Yeah, very impressive, but Gitin Magomedov wasting no time, controlling the center, coming out in that orthodox stance against the southpaw of Rodriguez. Oh, heavy blows, and Gilberto looks like he stuns Gitin Magomedov, but Magomedov immediately in on that single leg. Gets the takedown against Gilberto, but he's not safe yet. He's in on that arming guillotine.
He's put in the half guard now on that. I don't think, oh, now he relinquishes the guillotine choke, and we're in a bad position.
What an impressive exchange. Both of those guys landed some heavy blows. Looked like Gitin Magomedov was stunned a little bit, but he was able to push through and secure that takedown, and that just speaks to that relentless Dagestani wrestling that he touched on in his interview.
Now Gilberto works his way up to his feet, which is excellent. See if he can set up some offense on his end.
Both of these guys are throwing with heat and intent.
I think Magomedov caught him with that overhand.
Beautiful timing, and straight in with that body lock, but looks like it's going to be stopped. And we have another first-round finish here tonight, Hector.
It's another fast fight. The overhand landed. It was a justified stoppage. But these guys both went crazy and threw some fireworks, and it was an exciting round for as long as it lasted.
Yeah, beautiful job from both these guys, and congratulations to, you know, the youngster in Gitin Magomedov. What a bright future ahead of this kid. You know, as we mentioned, pure domination and confidence as he stepped in here tonight. As we look at the replay here, heavy overhand straight into that body lock, and you know, Rodriguez was just still trying to get his wits about him, but he was eating heavy blows as he does so, and the referee had seen enough.
Yeah, and Gitin Magomedov took on somebody who had 4 times as many fights as he did, and he finished him in the first round, so this is quite a statement. Gilberto had a lot of experience and had some good people on his pedigree. But Gitin Magomedov actually starting off coming out with the smooth striking.
Yeah, exactly. Very impressive from the you know, the youngster, one of the youngest people on the card here tonight at just 19 years old. And we take it to Garrett Furtek to make this result official. And then we have it, our third early finish of the night. We've had a rear naked choke to open up the card. We had our DQ finish in the second round, and then we just saw a first round TKO. We mentioned opening up that these rounds are short and these guys are going to be wasting no time, and yeah, they've showed out, living up to those expectations.
Yeah, these young guys came in excited, and they want to put out a big performance and get some eyeballs on them. They're doing just that.
The crowd lifts up Gitin Magomedov as he is carried out on the shoulders of his team. Definitely very happy with that performance. Not much to work on as he goes away tonight, and I'll be excited to see how fast we can get him back in here. As we mentioned, he was very hungry, very eager to make a statement and to show his future within this sport.
Yeah, Gitin Magomedov took minimal damage. He should be ready to go again whenever the next amateur show comes along. I'm sure these guys are going to want to stay active.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, that was our third fight of the night. Our next one coming up are the featherweights. In the featherweight division, we have Austin Amberson from Standalone MMA against Farzad Ahmadi of Team Alpha Male.
I'm gonna go ahead and call this. I think we might see another finish in this one.
Yeah, I mean, if we continue the streak for the rest of the card, we're gonna have an early night for you guys. But like I say, these are some of the brightest stars that in the amateur scene currently, and it's called the Prospect Series for a reason. You know, these are all highly touted prospects coming from phenomenal teams, and you know, we're going to see them start filtering into the pro ranks soon, you know, going on to A1 and then slowly building their way up through the ranks, ready to start looking at the bigger picture. And everyone I spoke to tonight, obviously, when asked about their goals, said they want to be in the big shows, and they're so fortunate that A1 offers a very clear path to that. You know, A1's really just investing from grassroots onwards, and it's great. You know, they get experience in the full-size cage. This is the real cage that they use for the A1 shows. They're under the lights, they're on the camera, they have the crowd, and it's just great experience for these amateurs before they look to turn to those pro ranks. And yeah, this A1, like, hats off to A1 for what they're doing for the MMA scene around Sacramento and surrounding areas.
Yeah, phenomenal production quality. Get these young guys ready for when you know, they got to show up to the Hard Rock or any of the bigger events. You don't get this kind of preparation at the amateur level. So anytime you can get it is always going to be pinnacle for the development of these fighters.
So as we mentioned, we're about to move on to our fourth fight of the night with Austin Amberson against Farzad Ahmadi. But yeah, and then my co-commentator Hector Fajardo here will actually be stepping out for the fifth fight of the night as he looks to corner Team Alpha Male's Hisaki Kotoju. But we have a full night of fights ahead of us. You know, as I mentioned, we have 11 fights tonight. We're only 3 fights in, and we've had back-to-back stoppages. So you guys are in for a treat tonight.
Yeah, quite excited to see if this streak's going to continue. I called it. This next fight, I think there's going to be a finish, and then I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm hoping for maybe get another one. I'm cornering Hisaki on that one, so I'm biased.
We got some question, where's your eye in the stream, but he's actually sat across the cage from me right now. Perhaps I can drag him over here to take the seat of my co-host and keep that warm for him for that fight that he's commentating. We're just waiting, you know, for the doctors to finish taking care of our fighters and get back cage side ready for us to move on to the fourth fight. As we mentioned, fighter safety is, you know, the primary focus here tonight, and Garrett is entering the cage ready to announce our fourth fight of the night for you guys. Okay, making his amateur debut tonight is a fighter stepping into the cage for the very first time. Austin Amberson representing Standalone MMA. For Amberson, this is where the journey begins, but make no mistake, he's not just here to participate, he's here to make a statement. When we spoke to him ahead of the fight, his message was simple. He plans to just bring the pressure, and that's the game plan tonight. Forward movement, intensity, and a refusal to let his opponent get comfortable. Whether it ends in knockout or submission, Amberson believes that he's leaving with the win. He states that the challenge was what motivated him to pursue MMA, and he's drawing inspiration from close friend Derek Cook, who we will see later tonight on the card. Fighting out Standalone MMA, Amberson enters the amateur ranks with one thing on his mind, and that is winning.
Yeah, Standalone, he trains out of there. It's a good camp. He picked out great music to come out to. He's finding his vibe.
Yeah, definitely. And we have a few fighters here tonight from Standalone MMA, so all of them commented on how excited they are to be able to share the cage with one another. And yeah, Austin Amberson looking to set the tone for his team as he comes in here tonight for our full fight of the night.
Yeah, to be coming in this calm on your AMI debut, that bodes well.
Yeah, definitely. And he has a tough challenge ahead of him in Farzad Ahmadi of Team Alpha Male. But yeah, definitely confident, looking to set the tone for his team here tonight. And yeah, I'm excited to see if we can get another finish because this card has not disappointed so far.
Yeah, it's been a super explosive card. Excited to see more action coming out of this card for sure.
Yeah, the crowd went crazy for Amberson, but Farzad Ahmadi now making his way to the cage. returning to action after a solid decision win at A1 Combat in May of last year, and he's been sharpening his tools ever since, ready to put them on display tonight. He trains at Team Alpha Male under head coach Josiah McHale and brings a well-rounded style to the cage. Combining clean, technical striking with strong wrestling fundamentals, he's not just dangerous in one area, he's built to adapt and built to finish. He told us that his last fight went exactly to plan, but not by chance. Amadi says he always fights with intention and he always plans to win. The mindset has carried him through the entire camp leading into the night. Farzad Boars Amadi is coming in confident and he believes that he has the advantage everywhere this fight goes, and he's predicting a knockout tonight. For him, he says it's not just about the win. Amadi has his eyes set on something much bigger. He's not just here to take part, he's here to make history, with long-term goals of becoming a champion.
Yeah, I'm quite excited to see Farzad jump in. Again, he had a quite long layoff. He's dynamic, well-rounded, he's hungry. He's going to come out like a wolf for sure. So I'm excited to see him get back in here and throw down. This kid works hard for sure.
Quick prayer as he enters the cage, and we are ready to see our fourth fight of the night underway as Garrett Furtek looks to start the action.
His official weight 144 and 1/2 pounds. Making his entry in the debut, getting a stand of MMA from Grizzly, California. Now he's using the longer road to get fighting up the red corner. 645 pounds. No losses as an amateur. A member of Team Alpha Male. He fights out of Sacramento, California,
All right, Farzad coming out, testing out the length and the reach. Ooh, very nice check hook on that. Very good kick. Emerson doesn't know what to do on that. He has to make the adjustment on the kick. Good overhand. Great setup by Farzad. Farzad got clipped.
Heavy blows on both sides from these guys, wasting no time. Definitely, had the tone set for the night with the previous fights, but both these guys throwing blows. They must have heard we're finishing fights tonight.
Yeah, someone must have snuck in some kind of a incentive or bonus back there. These guys are trying to churn out finishes.
Southpaw stance of Farzad against the orthodox stance of Amberson. Switching back and forth, in fact, for Farzad.
Farzad has a very free-flowing style. It's very fun to watch. He's setting up that rear side power with either the hook or the jab. It's working wonders.
Amberson looking to utilize those kicks, perhaps keep the hands up of Farzad by throwing that rear kick to the head, which would be a smart approach. As we mentioned, Farzad is throwing that with heat. Very impressed with Amberson's ability to pressure forward and control the center despite, being in that firefight. Definitely not shook.
That rear hook
not
was
scared.
nice.
But Farzad landing some heavy blows still.
He's putting everything into those shots. Nice kick. Good scramble by both of them. Amberson showing a good level for being an amateur debut. Oh, can't grab the cage.
Certainly, yeah. Warning from the referee on the cage grab, but Amberson doing a great job getting to that body lock. He's now utilizing some knees to the legs to wear down the legs of Farzad, and now looking to reap the leg. Drops on the body lock, but unfortunately loses position right as the bell rings. So, not necessarily too detrimental to the round. Interesting round from both guys. Very impressed, actually, from Amberson with the composure as he comes out here in the first round ever of his career.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with the way Amberson made adjustments. Farzad started off real aggressive, threw some bombs, and they both flipped each other, but Amberson showing some very good composure for being this, again, this is his Amy debut.
Yeah, definitely did a great job in setting up that entry. I'd perhaps like to see him press urgency on that a little sooner in the second round. Looked like he was about to start having success on that. I liked his use of the leg reaps off balancing Farzad, and it kind of gets him out of the, that danger zone of the heavy rear hand of Farzad Ahmadi.
Yeah, Farzad has great reach, but he's caught himself in that middle ground. And Amberson's been able to get hands on him, but he's got the reach. He has to try to keep him at that distance. Both gentlemen trading wings.
Yeah, definitely an interesting first round. I'd say Farzad won it based purely on significant strikes and damage, but Amberson definitely coming into his own later in that round. Beautiful job. Amberson wasting no time getting in Farzad's face and definitely not afraid to throw some heavy blows of his own.
No, he closes the distance at the right amount of time.
He does still have to be careful rushing in. Farzad is throwing those heavy blows.
Yeah, with this southpaw orthodox, the calf kick is there. We definitely want to see the southpaw fighter step on the outside of the orthodox fighter's left foot.
Spin attempt from Farzad misses. And Amberson really seems to have found his range now. You're seeing him pull a lot more on those heavy blows, forcing Farzad to miss. I'd like to see him perhaps come with some counters of his own to kind of, make him miss, make him pay, as they say.
Beautiful double hook.
And Farzad is swinging with heat. If one of those lands, we could be looking at another early night. Catches the kick, potentially looking to run down Amberson, but Amberson able to regain his footing.
Amberson fighting off the back foot is not the business. That looked like a head clash.
Farzad perhaps contemplating a takedown of his own, but decides to break. Definitely having success on the feet for Farzad Ahmadi. As I mentioned, Amberson, not out of his depth, but I'd like to see him start maybe at least faking those takedown threats so Farzad has something to think about, so he can't just throw with so much confidence and reckless abandon.
That overhand was beautiful. Farzad eating off the kicks all day long.
And there we have it, the end of round 2. Very impressive from both guys here. Farzad having a lot of success on the feet. Amberson, again, having success of his own. But I'd like to see him, again, mixing some of that grappling that we saw in the latter of the first round. I felt like he looked like he was having success there. Maybe if he implements that early in the third, we'd be looking at a little bit more of a clear round for him in terms of the judges.
Farzad clearly has his kick range established and set. He's landing all of his leg kicks, but he's missing on a lot of his punches. He needs to be able to blend that together in order to get his offense. But Amberson, I'd like to see him either close the distance a little bit more effectively or be able to throw a counter shot.
Yeah, definitely. I think Farzad's going to be looking to a lot more of what he's been doing. Perhaps with a little more urgency. I know that both of these guys wanted the finish in here tonight. But, Farzad is edging it in the striking, in my opinion. But, very impressed with Amberson as a debut fighter here tonight. And like I said, I think he's had a lot of success in his own right. Your third and final round underway with the featherweights.
Again, eating off the leg kicks.
Amberson wasting no time getting in the face of Farzad Ahmadi. He's loading a little bit too much on those kicks. It's giving Farzad the timing to pull and make them miss. I'd like to see Amberson start setting them up with his punches and string them into combinations instead of just throwing heavy kicks unprotected and naked, as they say.
Yeah. like I said, Farzad's coming out with his dynamic spins.
Yeah, definitely. Emerson doing a good job of evading that one. There we go, landing on the body kick straight in on that grappling exchange. And you got to think there's corners pressed urgency here to try to change the direction of this fight and really, put a stamp on it for the judges if we go that way.
He has to be able to put Farzad on the back foot with this pressure.
Beautiful job. He slips under the punch of Farzad and lands an overhand of his own. Both of these guys have great striking on display.
Beautiful check hook by Farzad.
Yeah, he did a great job setting up that low inside leg kick. As that opened the stance of Amberson, he was able to land that check hook. But both of these guys trading here with only 40 seconds left on the clock. Amberson definitely stressing urgency as he pressures forward against Farzad. With only 30 seconds left, you got to think that he's not wanting to leave it in the hands of the judges.
He's making the right decision on that. He's short on time. He has to go. Another beautiful kick by Farzad. Check hook. Money.
Crowd is going crazy here in support of both of these fighters. And it looks like we're trading all the way to the bell in our first judge's decision of the night. Beautiful leg kicks from Farzad. And both of these guys trading to the bell. What an impressive fight. And yeah, we're going to the judges' scorecards for the first time tonight. Hector Fajardo is not going to be with me for the next fight. He is stepping out. He's cornering Hisaki Kotoju in the next bout. But I will still be here with you. We're just going to wait for the judges to get their scorecards as Garrett runs around the cage. And yeah, what an impressive fight from both these guys. I have to say, in my opinion, that Farzad edged that with significant strikes and damage. But how impressive from Austin Anderson for an amateur debut to go in there and put on a display like that. I have Uriah Faber joining me in the booth. We are honored. Hello, Mr. Faber. How are you doing tonight?
Wow, what a fight, huh?
Yeah, I was just talking about how for a debut, Anderson looked very impressive in there against Farzad Ahmadi.
Yeah, I mean, he came to fight. I mean, he took some big punches, but he landed a couple of big ones himself. I mean, honestly, looked very, very technical on both sides, and then they would get punched and then start throwing haymakers. So that could have been anybody's game if the wrong one hits the button.
Yeah, definitely. Both of these guys came out with intent to finish, and I was saying to Hector, there's something in the water tonight. We're getting some high-level action. Some, like you say, we've had back-to-back finishes, and this is our first time going into the judges' scorecards, but could have been an early night for either of these guys if someone had landed one of those blows.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about an amateur fight card in today's day and age. When I started fighting, there was no amateur, and you weren't seeing names like Magomed Matakan Gidamagomedov from on the low card of a local fight. Sohail Sultani, Saeed Farad Anwari. This is really a world-class competitor's game for amateur fights, and I love that.
Yeah, definitely. We're throwing it back to Garrett, who's now entered the cage with your official decision from the judges.
Ladies and gentlemen, for 3 rounds of action-packed action, we go down to 3 judges at kingside for the decision. The first judge of weight until season 29-28. All judges Chad Shepard and Don French, Halsey at 30-27. All career winner by unanimous decision. Sparta!
A very emotional Farzad Ahmadi there as he gets the win tonight from the judges. His first time out since May of last year, so you got to think he's happy to make that return tonight.
Yeah, he's coming off a bad injury. He had his whole collarbone broken in half, and it was a long, long recovery. He was doing extra rounds after sparring and had that happen to him, so unfortunately had to be out, but on the bright side, he got that big win today and looked great doing it. Definitely made big improvements in his time off.
Yeah, exactly. And, another shout out to Austin Emerson for an amazing debut at amateur. And this was great experience for him. He was in there against a tough guy. And it's not very often you face someone that tough as your debut. So hats off to him.
Yeah, on an amateur mark. And I mean, like I said, he was game. Got into a fight and stepped up. That's what you want to see out of these amateur fights. And truthfully, from the amateur, it's kind of opposite of pro. When you're going for an amateur fight, you want to get the best challenge possible if you feel like you're interested in going pro. When you go pro, you have to be very careful about who you get matched up with. In amateur, you should fight everybody because it doesn't really matter on your pro record, which is how you end up getting a big opportunities and making big money.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually just going over that a couple fights ago with the difference between pros and amateur. Uri always says it best. It's just a couple bucks, right?
That's right. That's it.
But we were saying how great it is that we were saying about how A1 now has these grassroots shows where people are able to come in, get their experience, be fed to the pro shows, A1 Combat, and then A1 Combat has time and time again sent people on to that higher level with the UFC. We've seen it countless times as our fighters have seen the Contender Series gone straight shots to the UFC in like Peyton Talbot, for example, and we've seen it time and time again. So it's great that these athletes now have a clear path that they can follow and they get to be with us the whole way.
Yeah, and part of our goal is to get that even more cleared out, more substantiated for the rest of the folks in the world to understand how you do it. Other sports, they have basketball, baseball, football, they have youth programming into competitive travel teams, and they go into junior high and high school and college. We're just kind of starting backwards. We have the pro, now we've got the amateur, we've got the college in the bag. We're still yet to have a high school program that really brings things to that level, and then obviously the flushing out of the youth sports. But we're doing our part to make sure that the path gets clearer in a sport that is pretty much a new sport.
Yeah, definitely. We touched on that a little bit with the Combat U. I explained that Hector is the director of that, but you were obviously pivotal. You are the creator of that program. It looks like we have a couple minutes as we wait for the doctors to get back cage side and Garrett to announce the next fight. But you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of architecting the program, I decided that the four cornerstones of our sport, some of the most dominant ground and some of the most dominant stand-up components need to be highlighted. Straight boxing, straight kickboxing, straight wrestling, straight jiu-jitsu, and then obviously we have the combining of the four disciplines for a mixed martial arts team as well. And that's been pretty awesome. Getting all that squared away and funneling into this amateur and now pro circuit.
Yeah, definitely. And looks like Garrett's ready to send us to our fifth fight of the night. Okay, now walking out to the cage, Richard Nurse, representing Underground MMA, a team Nurse credits for producing athletes with a different kind of grit. He brings with him a 3-4 record with 2 knockout victories to his name, and he's made it clear that he's looking to put that clean, crisp boxing on full display tonight. He's coming off of a doctor stoppage loss that left a bitter taste in his mouth, and he's eager to run that one back in the future. But first, he's focused on tonight's challenge, a high-stakes matchup against a dangerous, undefeated opponent in Hisaki Kotoju. After taking a year off to reflect and reset, Nurse says he realized how much this sport means to him and that this is really what he wants. It reaffirmed his commitment and has driven his preparation for this moment. He's walked a tough road both inside and outside of the cage, shedding about 100 pounds from his former 300-pound self and committing himself to the discipline and intensity of mixed martial arts over the last 6.5 years. As for tonight, he says he's ready for either outcome, a knockout or an all-out dogfight. He sees openings in his opponent's defense, stating that Hisaki leaves his chin sky high, and if he's right, we may be in for another big finish here tonight.
Yeah, when you get a guy like this, a man that can carry 300 pounds, you have a bone structure of somebody that can carry 300 pounds. So those hips are still there, and that's where the power comes from.
For sure. Garrett ready to send out the next opponent. Okay, now entering the red corner is a fighter whose name is starting to build real weight within the amateur circuit. Hisaki Kotoju is representing Team Alpha Male. He's undefeated at 4-0, and Kotoju is quietly and confidently carving out a path through the heavyweight division. In his most recent outing, he had a clean, calculated first-round TKO back in January, and if you ask him, that fight went exactly to plan. That is the theme with Kotoju: calm, composed, and half of his victories have come from TKO, and he shows that kind of maturity and poise inside the cage that you'd expect from someone with far more experience. He states that his style, interestingly enough, is that of a praying mantis. He trains out of the renowned Team Alpha Male in Sacramento under a stacked coaching staff that includes Uriah Faber, Cody Linton, and former UFC standout Alex Sandoval. He's surrounded by veterans and high-level talent, and Kotoju has all of the tools and mentorship to develop into something special. When asked about his opponent tonight, Kotoju gave him credit, said that he's a good striker with nice punches, but he made it clear he predicts victory. In his corner is Hector Fajardo, who we touched on was my co-commentator for tonight, and he says that he has been his sensei and MMA father since day one. Uriah, you're very familiar with this fella from Team Alpha Male. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you know what I like about Saki's style is he fights like a lightweight. He floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. He really identifies with a lot of the guys in the lighter weight classes like Truth Ishihara and Namiki, some of our Japanese style stand-up fighters, and he flows. So I like that about him. I think it's rare for the big weight class, and he really is taking this to the next level.
His official weight 205 pounds even, entering the A1 team undefeated at 4-0 with 2 stoppage victories over now the Team Alpha Male. He fights out of Sacramento, and the California is Saki Kotoju.
So we touched a little bit on this earlier, Uriah, but this is our first three-minute round fight. And, Joe! Didn't even have time to finish my sentence. Another impressive knockout finish from Hisaki Kotoju. He wasted no time. Uriah, you were just talking about heavy hitters, and I think we got the biggest one here.
I mean, I think what happened there is a distance thing. The other guy closed the distance and didn't realize the power that sits there. You know, 1-2 on the button, lights out. And let's take a look back at this. Steps in close, there's 2. I look like a Torito Ishihara fight.
Yeah, Kotoju wasting no time there. Heavy blows straight down the middle. Unfortunate for Nurse. You know, sorry, I'm a little lost for words. I was just mentioning that it's our first 3-minute rounds of the night, but Kotoju not even needing 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's probably time for him to make the step up to possibly pro or some sort of title, amateur title next.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that we've actually been discussing with him. I know that's something he's considering, and after a performance like that, I think it's going to be near impossible to even find him fights, let alone keep him an amateur. So congratulations to Hisaki Kotoju. Wishing Richard Nurse a speedy recovery, and I think we're going to watch it again because we got plenty of time here tonight, Uriah. We've had nothing but finishes.
Yeah, here we go. Guy walks in, slow, fluid, 1, 2, 3 on the button. That was like hit mitts, to be honest.
Yeah, and the composure from Hisaki on that finish. You know, as Nurse hit the ground, and you see him kind of just walk over him, realize that the fight is done, and you know, that kind of prevented Nurse from taking more damage. Obviously, our referee did his job, jumped in between them, but great control from Hisaki Kotoju.
That'll be good for the highlight reel. They call that a walk-off, and you know, those are the kind of performances that get you celebrated and progressing in your career. And you know, I think a pro fight like that is something that you can hopefully get a bonus off of and turn some heads.
Yeah, definitely. Really bright future ahead of Hisaki Kotoju, and hats off to Richard Nurse. He knew what he was stepping in against tonight. He knew, and he was ready for that challenge. He anticipated a dogfight. He did get clipped on the way in, but I'm excited to see how he can bounce back from this tonight. Yeah,
those are one of those fights where those really sting because you didn't really get the chance to showcase your hard work. You didn't get a chance to perform like you wanted to, like you expected, like you visualized. But this is a game where that kind of stuff happens, and he had to learn the hard way. This time, it's better that it happened now as an amateur than as a pro, where it counts against his record and could take dollars out of his pocket.
Yeah, certainly. We talked about how the amateur is the best place to build experience, and I think Hisaki Kotoju has taken all of the experience that he can get from these amateur ranks, and I'm excited to see him step in there in the pro cage soon, hopefully.
Yeah, and I know Hector, he talked about Hector being a mentor for him. Hector recruited him. Those that didn't know before, Hector was at Combat U. He was working at UFC Gym in Rockland, and that's where he found this big, fluid man that knocks people out.
Yes, certainly. We send it to Garrett Furtek for the official decision. Great sportsmanship from both guys here, and like you mentioned, phenomenal performance from Hisaki Kotoju as we look to get our 4th finish out of 5 fights. What an impressive night we've had so far, Uriah.
Yeah, it's awesome. We got a bunch more to come. Some of the fights I'm excited for on this card is, one that really stands out is Lou. How do you pronounce his last name?
Louis Acaria.
So, those that don't know about Lou, he's a high-level black belt, but got a late start in jiu-jitsu, let alone the fight game, and he's fighting Sam Tanner from MMA Gold. So I'm really excited for that matchup. Also, we have Jafar Von Luck, and he's a guy that I've known since he was 12 or 13 years old, and watched him grow into really talented in mixed martial arts, and he's fighting a very tough Tafaquila Omari, and he's a boxer and a wrestler, and at the weigh-ins he actually picked Jafar up in a body lock, and I think he pissed Jafar off, and so I'm excited to see Jafar pissed off. He's a very, very calm guy, and I've never seen him really get his blood boiling, and I think this might have done it for him.
Yeah, definitely. I was very impressed with his composure at the weigh-ins. It's not often that we see a fighter pulled aside by Camo and warned that they will be banned.
Yeah.
So Mari definitely made some upsets at the weigh-ins, getting a little rowdy, getting a little too heated. This is amateurs. There's not too much on the line, as we've mentioned, but definitely one to watch there, as both of these guys are very excited to get in against one another.
Another one is Danny Ghazi. We got to see him at the Combat U showcase at Sac State. I was really impressed with him. I mean, I see him in the room all the time, but I was impressed by the way he performed out in the actual fight, and he's going against Jose Martinez for Bruno Lima's BJJ team, and they've got a stacked group. We got Hector back here. I want to thank everybody that's tuning in on our YouTube channel and watching these fights. This is a rare kind of situation where you get to see high-level talent from all over the world at an amateur level that you most likely, very good chance will see in the big show in the UFC someday, and definitely on the A1 Combat Pro card. So enjoy the fights.
He's jumping out. He's going to go do his thing. But, Hector Fajardo back in the commentary booth with me. Hector, that was your guy. You were in his corner. You saw that cage side. Quick 20-second break. What are your thoughts? Faber and I were talking a little bit about Hisaki's likely need to go pro. He's clearly, grown out of those ranks, amateur ranks a little bit. I think it's going to be hard for us to find matchups for him, and what a dominant display here.
It was already quite difficult to get Hisaki matched in the first place. Like I said, this fight with Richard Nurse was supposed to happen twice. It's going to be even harder now to get him a matchup. So, yeah, I'd like to say Hisaki has graduated to the ranks of let's get him on the pro show. And I've already talked with Tom Anderson about getting those moves in. So the sky's the limit for this kid. I'm excited.
Okay, amazing. And we're straight back with the action for our next fight. Garrett Furtek, take it away.
And now we welcome
Okay, making her way to the cage, we have our first and only female fight of the night in the strawweight division. Callie Swartha is looking to bounce back and secure her first win tonight after a hard-fought decision loss back in April. She represents standalone MMA, and she returns to the amateur ranks with a sharpened focus and a new game plan. No stranger to competition, Swartha is a gold medalist in the Jiu-Jitsu World League and holds 2 wins in PMT competitions. But interestingly, despite her grappling accolades, she considers herself a striker at heart, which makes a great fight tonight stylistically, and all the more intriguing as she steps in against an opponent with a very strong wrestling background. Swarthout says that she and her team have studied film, made adjustments, and feel confident tonight. She's excited not only to showcase those improvements, but also to do so on the same card as her teammate Garrett Cook, adding a little extra motivation to the night. It hasn't been an easy road as she balances being a full-time student, part-time worker, and dedicated fighter, which is a challenge. But Swartha is grinding through all of that with her eyes on the goal, crediting her coach as the key inspiration behind her journey into the sport. And I'm really excited to see the growth of women's MMA here tonight.
Yeah, another standout from Standalone. Looks like she's ready to put on a good fight. It's our only ladies fight of the night, so let's see how this goes.
Her opponent making her way, Sabrina.
Okay, and here comes another standout prospect in the amateur ranks, Sabrina Kuna. Entering the cage tonight at 2-1 and currently undefeated with Camo. As we mentioned, Camo sanctioned some bouts, not others. Kuna is coming off of an impressive first-round submission win back in February, locking up a rear naked choke. At just 20 years old, she's already building such a strong resume, and the way she fights, you'd think she'd been doing it way longer. She is an NCAA wrestling champion out of Sacramento State with Combat U, which we have discussed previously, and Kuna brings a dominant grappling base to MMA. She describes her style as wrestling heavy with a singular focus, being pressured. Her goal tonight is to overwhelm, smother, and break her opponent with a relentless pace that she believes will lead to a TKO finish. She trains out of MMA Gold, which is one of the top gyms in the region, and says her commitment to the craft hasn't changed since her last fight because she always puts 100% in. She's training 3 sessions a day, every one of them with intensity and purpose, and as she puts it, her mentality takes years of work to build, and she thinks that that mental edge is something that will get her the win here tonight as she steps into the cage.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Sabrina throw down in the region finally. She's one of the Combat U students as well. Excited.
You can definitely see the excitement on the face of Kuna. She this has been kind of interesting a little bit when we spoke to her. When we asked about her motivation for the fight, she stated that there's something about violence that has always given her peace and that this is where she feels most at home. And she's definitely looking confident as she runs straight out to control the center and get in the face of Swarthout.
Excellent right hand with the cross and then setting it up with the overhand.
Wasting no time to get in on that body lock is the NCAA wrestling champion. But great job from Swarthout to get that underhook and start beating the head positioning of Kuna and able to reverse her. Very impressive.
Yeah, she's definitely putting the fight exactly where she wants.
Dirty boxing from Kuna, looking to get a little bit of damage in there, but very impressed with the relentlessness of Swarthout. You know, she started on the back foot, was pressed against the cage, but she's able to reverse the position of the strong wrestler in Kuna. Heavy overhand lands for Swarthout.
Yeah, both of them are scrapping in the middle now. Beautiful overhand by Sabrina. Another one. It's interesting to see Swarthout trying to actually put Sabrina into the cage.
Yeah, definitely. Able to back Sabrina up to the cage, but, you know, so Kuna reverses, Swarthout reverses immediately again. It's very back and forth in this cage grappling. Kuna doing a good job of just landing these close range blows, uses the knees of the body to set up that headlock, potentially looking for an arming guillotine as she lands knees to the body of Swarthout. And just a reminder, these are 3 2-minute rounds, so these rounds are going to go quickly. And like I say, again, not wasting any time with the action for both of these ladies here. Beautiful job from Swarthout getting that underhook, and that's negating the takedown of Kuna here.
Sabrina made the intelligent decision to score in those exchanges to rack up the points.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to give the edges, you know, the edge with the judges. You know, it's not all about control. It is a lot about damage and significant strikes. And
that overhand has been money. That cross is landing again.
3 in a row for Kuna. Swarthout looking to survive the round as we look to see a second. Beautiful job, and you got to think that those 3 heavy blows that bloodied up the nose of Swarthout perhaps edged the round for Kuna.
The right hand has not missed all round. I definitely think that she should stick to it and see where it goes from there.
Kuna looking locked in as she stares down her opponent across the cage. Jim West in the corner giving advice. We actually had Jim West in the commentary booth with us at the last A1 giving us our coach's take. So I'll be interested to see what he's saying to Kuna in the corner. They're very analytical in his approach. And you got to think that Swarthout, you know, she's got to have confidence building after she was able to mitigate the wrestling offense of the NCAA champion in Kuna. I'd like to see her maybe get that hand up, start looking to land some strikes of her own, and be mindful of that overhand that's landing, because she did definitely look a little stunned in the end of that first round.
Right now the differential is in the damage, and Sabrina has landed more damage. So Swarthout should be moving her head a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely needing a little bit more footwork and head movement from the Swarthout side. But like mentioned, she had her shining moments also. Both of these girls are hot prospects on the scene in the women's division.
Yeah, Swarthout looks ready to go.
Big smile from Kuna as again she runs to hold that center, immediately firing a straight right into the leg kick, looking to get in the face of Swarthout. But Swarthout also pressing forward with her own combinations. Chin is high from Swarthout on those exchanges. She needs to be careful, especially after eating a couple of those heavy overhands from Kuna.
Again, Sabrina has not missed on that right hand.
Yeah, definitely seeing that aggressive pressure from Kuna that she spoke about in the pre-fight interviews. Swarthout able to reverse the position again of Kuna, but Kuna using that underhook and head position to get back to her control.
Kuna looks a lot more prepared. Instead of just getting matadored into the cage, she was able to reverse it.
Yeah, definitely. Both of these girls having success in this grappling exchange. She's got to be careful hanging out on that whizzer. Kuna looking to set up that single leg. I like the fact that Kuna's using those reaps to kind of get that leg off of the cage to set up the single leg, but Swarthout able to get her underhook and reverse position.
Yeah, Sabrina losing the underhook battle right now. Beautiful break off the cage.
Great job from Kuna for following that momentum as they exit off the cage and able to land blows on the break. She's doing a great job of dictating the space.
The splits look excellent. She slipped on that last one as well, and it looked great. Sabrina's found her range.
Yeah, definitely. Swarthout has to be careful. She's eating some heavy blows here. I'd perhaps like to maybe see her try again for some takedowns of her own. You know, we saw her able to control Kuna against the cage. But right now, she's having a hard time landing combinations of her own and just eating damage.
Beautiful level change by Cunha.
Yep, Cunha in on that single leg, gets the finish in the last 10 seconds of round 2, and you got to think that wins the round for her, Hector.
I tend to agree.
As you mentioned, both of these girls having success in there. Cunha just relentless with that pressure. Definitely the more aggressive fighter and having a lot more success with the striking. Yeah, tough night for Swarthout. I think the only way we see her, coming out is getting that finish in the third round, coming out on top, sorry. And I think in order to do that, she's going to have to make significant changes to her game. She's eating some heavy blows as she's trying to land strikes of her own because her chin is sky high. We need to get that chin down, hands up, get her head moving, and worst case, maybe try to implement some grappling of her own. What do you think, Hector?
Actually, I was just about to say that. I'd like to see Swarthout actually take the offensive on the grappling to throw Sabrina off her game a little bit because the stand-up battle just isn't working right now.
Yeah, she did she did a great job of controlling Cunha when she was against the cage. And like I said, I just think if we had a bit more offense on the grappling, it would give Cunha something to respect. Right now, Kuna's not scared of getting taken down. She's also not scared of getting hit. You got to give her something to respect to almost, hopefully, give her hesitancy on those overhands. Because right now, she is landing with intent, and she is causing a lot of damage.
Both these ladies meet in the middle. Right back to business. Sabrina looking for that right hand. She splits.
Beautiful knee on the clinch there for Swarthout.
Swarthout gets her jab split every time.
And great spot from the commenters in the live chat. We do have Josh Emmett sat behind us. The whole crew is out showing their support for these grassroots. It's great to see. But yeah, girls really putting it on the line here tonight. And like I say, Swarthout, she has taken some damage, and many people would have backed down after eating those blows. So hats off for her for staying in this fight.
Swarthout definitely has a lot of heart. She's definitely a game opponent, and she came to put on a show for sure.
Yeah, and Cunha definitely looking to get this back down to the ground. She got that takedown at the end of the second, had to boost her confidence a little bit, but as mentioned, testament to Swarthout for being able to mitigate these takedown attempts of Cunha. We've spoke about the high-level wrestling of Cunha and the level at which she's competing, so a real testament to Swarthout here as she reverses Cunha against the cage again with those double underhooks.
Swarthout is winning the underhook battle, and that's how she's been able to reverse Sabrina every time.
Yeah, definitely. And we're starting to see the damage wear on Sabrina's face now as she looks to press forward. Check hook from Swarthout. And Swarthout looking to come into her own a little bit. I'm seeing some confidence building from her. Very impressive.
That left hand is starting to pick up by Swarthout. She's finding her jab. She's finding the splits.
Swarthout definitely coming into her own in this third round. I'd like to see a little bit more urgency as Sabrina looks to shoot that single leg for what's probably the third time. Very impressed. We just heard the clack at last 10 seconds. Looks like we're going to see the judges' scorecards, but what a performance from both of these girls here tonight, Hector.
Yeah, this is definitely a great fight for both ladies. Again, this being our only women's fight, and they definitely delivered. They put a very exciting fight.
Yeah, and you got to think that, Sabrina Cunha, in my opinion, clearly edged the judges' scorecards. But, yes, Swarthout came in here against a NCAA wrestling champion, someone who's competing at the highest level in grappling. She's 2-1 in MMA. She's at MMA Gold with the likes of Jim West, Aspen Ladd, Max Griffin, Fluffy Hernandez. So she's training and fighting at the highest level. And Swarthout came out here and she challenged her. Sabrina Cunha wasn't able to finish those takedowns. She took plenty of damage of her own, and very impressed with both of these ladies here tonight. And I think both of them have a lot to learn and can hold their head high as they exit the cage.
Yeah, Swarthout had a very good showing for this being her second fight. She put up a very good fight, very entertaining fight on all levels between both of these ladies.
Yeah, definitely, and very happy with herself, as she should be. Sabrina is a highly touted prospect. Many thought she was going to come out and get that finish here tonight, and she got the win in my opinion, but Swarthout was able to drag her the full 3 rounds, and that's a testament to herself. We're just waiting for Garrett Furtek as he makes the rounds to get the judges' scorecards. He's coming back in the cage here now, and we're going to look to take it to him to get our official judges' decision. And there we have it, Sabrina Kuna advancing to 3-1 against another prospect, Callie Swarthout.
Yeah, great showing by both women. It's good to see Sabrina win one, especially, you know, one of my Combat U students.
Yeah, and we touched on that a little bit with Uriah. We've mentioned it a few times with Hector. Obviously, Combat U, another way that the local scene are investing in the grassroots of MMA and looking to build a pathway for these athletes. So amazing to see, you know, how much work is being done on the MMA scene. Okay, now making his way to the cage is Jose Martinez, fighting out of Bruno Lima BJJ, and stepping in tonight with a 2-1 amateur record. Martinez is returning to action following a hard-fought unanimous decision loss back in September of 2024. But he told us there haven't been any major changes to his game since then. When asked about his style, he simply said, better. A grappler at heart, but tonight Martinez is predicting a second-round knockout. As for his opponents, he says he hasn't watched tape, and he doesn't care to. His focus is fully internal and on execution, on his own development and on getting his hands raised. Martinez draws his strength from his deep roots, crediting his tribe, his ancestors, and his lineage as the fuel behind his fighting spirit. He's not just here for the moment, he's here to build a career, with the ultimate goal of turning fighting into his livelihood. And we touched on that, Hector, the ability to grow and build this sport into your livelihood, right? We've seen guys, as we mentioned, go from amateur to pro with A1, eventually onto the UFC. And, you know, it's great that they have the opportunity to do that here tonight.
Yeah, Jose, we've seen him fight in A1 before against Frank the Tank Loya, which I got to watch. And it was a very exciting fight. So it's good to see him back in the cage, throwing out another fight with another exciting opponent.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and now making his way to the blue corner is a young man that is just proud to be here and proud to be on this path. Danny Ghazi is entering tonight with a 1-0 record after a successful amateur debut at Combat U's Battle of the Hive this past March. So a quick turnaround for Ghazi. And for Ghazi, he states that getting started was his biggest milestone. He's spoken openly about how much it meant to earn that first win, and tonight he's back looking to build on it with another strong performance. His approach is simple: stand and bang, have fun, and outstrike the striker. With plans of forward pressure and confidence in his hands, he believes his opponent leaves himself open after throwing, and Ghazi sees that as the moment to land, to capitalize, and to finish, predicting a first-round TKO. He's fighting out Team Alpha Male under head coach Josiah McHale, and Ghazi is known for his relentless work ethic. He's told us that he never stops grinding and that he truly believes he has the advantage everywhere this fight can go. He states that he's motivated by his family, his future, and the chance to be an example, not just for himself, but for everyone watching. And he told us that, I'm not just fighting for my dreams, but yours as well. His biggest adversity, choosing a different path from his family. But that path has led him here tonight, and we are fortunate as we get to watch him carve the next steps on this journey.
Yeah, Danny Ghazi fought on Battle of the Hive, and he put on a great, well-rounded performance on there for his debut. So quick turnaround is exactly what we want to see, especially in the region. You know, you don't get any better by sitting on the couch. So seeing Danny get back in here and working on his craft and ready to put on another show. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, definitely. And we're back for bout number 7 as we get Danny Ghazi ready to step on into this cage. And as we mentioned, we've only had 2 decisions here tonight, so 5 high-paced finishes, and both of these guys anticipating to continue that trend.
Yeah, Danny definitely wants to build off that momentum for sure.
The blue corner at 5'10", weight 169 3/4 pounds. Officially his MMA record, 1 loss. Built and trained from the Academy from Chico, California.
Fast start for Danny Ghazi.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something we're seeing here tonight. We've touched a lot on the shorter rounds, and these guys are really, making every second count as Ghazi comes out, presses straight to the center, and we're back to the 2-minute rounds. Ghazi's doing a great job of controlling, circling motion of Martinez, landing some heavy blows in that exchange, and back to circling off on the cage parameter. And we've seen countless times guys, using that circling motion, and the pressure doesn't always mean that you're winning. And we're seeing that here with Martinez as he times some beautiful flurries and gets in, gets out, not allowing Ghazi to set up offense of his own. Heavy kicks from Ghazi.
Ghazi's looking for that right hand. The way he's loaded on that back leg, he's definitely looking for that right cross. The kicks are setting everything up, though. He's looking for that distance.
Yeah, 2 very different styles we're looking at here. Martinez using the footwork, kind of playing that parameter, flurrying in, getting out so he doesn't eat too much heavy offense from Ghazi. And Ghazi just kind of stalking him down, right? Using that pressure, landing heavy singles or doubles. Very interesting striking differential styles here.
Really love Ghazi's style. It's very Fighting Nerds, Mauricio Rufy style.
I like to see the Martinez is starting to use those fakes and feints a little bit, draw out the offense of Ghazi. Beautiful heavy leg kick caught by Ghazi, and Ghazi straight in on the flurry. Allowing Martinez back up to his feet. Clearly no intent to grapple here tonight. He did tell me he wants to stand and bang and he wants to have fun in there. So getting what he asked for here from Martinez as he eats a heavy blow.
Great round by Danny Ghazi on that one. I think he slightly edged it. Looking quite relaxed.
Yeah, definitely. Beautiful cage control from Ghazi. But I like the footwork and the fakes from the Martinez side. So very interesting matchup. Both guys, very evenly matched up. But yeah, Ghazi likely edged it off of cage control, but Martinez was, throwing the combinations, a little bit more active with the striking despite being on the back foot and playing that perimeter.
Yeah, definitely catching that leg and then dropping Martinez off of the counter stole that round for me.
Yeah, definitely. Very aggressive. Martinez landing that leg. It kind of threw it naked. Ghazi rushed him. Couldn't see if he caught the kick or if he landed a strike, knocking Martinez down. But that potentially did, as you mentioned, seal the deal with the judges for this first round. But Martinez still looking locked in. Ghazi gives a wave to the crowd, having fun in there. And as you mentioned, that was his key thing coming out here tonight. He wanted to go in, have fun, stand and bang.
right to the center again.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of kind of asserting his dominance, right? He's running out there, he's controlling the center, and he's not giving Martinez really any opportunity to press forward. And that makes that range hard for Martinez to judge. So he's doing a great job on his footwork, which does negate a little bit of Ghazi's offense, but it's also forcing him to have to, work extra hard to find his own range.
Yeah, Martinez has issues finding that range off his back foot. Oh, nice on the hand with that check hook. The kick is the only thing he's ever had any success with so far in this fight.
Another heavy low kick lands for Martinez, and those are starting to add up a little bit. Ghazi looked like that was wearing, kind of stepped back, limped a little bit, looked a little labored, and that's going to take away some of the power on those heavy blows that he's throwing in Martinez's direction. So, kind of smart.
I'd like to see Martinez start to utilize more to build around those leg kicks.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe use the. Both of these guys are throwing naked kicks, and that's fine for like one or two, but they start to get red. So I'd like to see both of them kind of using their hands to set up their kicks, using their kicks to set up their hands, and just kind of chaining it together. But heavy rear hook lands for the Martinez side.
The hooks are working well. Those loopy hooks are going to help set everything else up.
Yeah, and it looks like Martinez is starting to find that range that we touched on. But Ghazi not looking phased at all. Very composed. Still keeping that lead hand down, kind of waving it around with that calm striking style of his as he looks to pour out. But
he's feinting and trying to pump. He's trying to spring the trap. Nice.
Big kick misses for Ghazi as he shoots a double leg, finishes the takedown, ready to seal round two with some heavy ground and pound.
That was a well-timed takedown. I think that should seal that. The timing was excellent on that. Right at the clapper, right at the end.
Yeah, definitely. You probably could tell that the round was a little bit close. He stops to talk to Uriah Faber, actually goes and bends down, and Uriah looking very, very excited as Ghazi's out there putting on a show. But Ghazi's definitely doing what he said he was going to. He's out, he's having fun. And like you mentioned, smart timing on that takedown, somewhat close round, and just doing enough to try to seal the deal with the judges.
I think right now it's a smart fight for Danny Ghazi. I'd like to see him put a little bit more punch volume up there, get his offense going, to really put his dominance in on these rounds.
Okay, so you got to think that Martinez is potentially down 2 rounds, Hector. If you were in his corner, what changes are you making? Oh!
There's your answer right there. I was going to say, don't throw that naked kick.
Beautiful timing from Ghazi. Very unfortunate for Martinez, who was having a lot of success. And that was a devastating overhand. And you heard that throughout the room. That echoed, and wow.
Excellent timing.
We're talking about the judges' scorecards, but we do not need to see them here tonight. Ghazi, likely up 2 rounds, decides he doesn't want to take it that far, and he just pumps the brakes right there. He says, good night.
That low kick just became entirely predictable, and yeah, Martinez was effective and successful in the rounds, but it's exactly how it just started. Oh, very nice.
Martinez up on his stool, doctor checking him out. Fortunately, looks to have come to his senses, and an unfortunate way to end the night. Like I say, having a lot of success on his own. Got to be aware of that naked kick. Got to think that he's learned his lesson and will not be doing that in his next fight. But very, very impressive from both guys. A lot to take away, and it's a hard experience to have as an amateur, but it's only going to make him better once he hits that pro ranks.
Yeah, this was an exciting first 2 rounds, and the conclusion was crazy. It ended in the first second of the 3rd round.
Yeah, exactly. Ghazi said he wanted to come out, stand and bang, and have fun, and it looks like he loved every minute of that. As say, rough one for the Martinez corner. I'm sure he's going to come back stronger and better from that. But congratulations to Ghazi being the better man here tonight. Wow.
Yeah, I'd like to see Danny Ghazi get another fight.
And that's another impressive knockout as we send it to Garrett Furtig for the official decision. Another dominant fight as we see Ghazi with the knockout. We had a 10-second or less knockout from Hisaki Kotoju earlier. We just saw a brutal knockout from Danny Ghazi, and the Pro League's gonna have to be on watch because these guys are coming up soon, and they're a force to be reckoned with.
And mind you, these matchups were very evenly matched on paper. This wasn't one-sided at all, other than the results. So, I mean, it's good to see these gentlemen come out here and put these results out on a well-matched card.
Yeah, definitely. And that was our 7th fight of the night. We still have 4 fights left for you guys. And as we mentioned, they're only getting better. So stick around. We're waiting for the doctor to be done with our fighters, get back to cage side, and we'll be ready to move on to our next fight of the night. And just to remind you guys what's coming from us, our next fight is going to be Tofi Kala Omari from Legend Boxing against Jafar Van Luke from Team Alpha Male. We then have our welterweights with Derek Cook from Standalone MMA that we've mentioned a couple times tonight, and he's taking on a 7 times Muay Thai champion in Idris Barami. So, we've had plenty of striking on display tonight, and you can expect fireworks from that one. Our co-main event, middleweight Sam Tanner from MMA Gold against Louis Akaria from Chris Holsworth Martial Arts. And our main event of the night, Pete Dunlap from Underground MMA, versus Eric Betancourt from ATT and Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu. So plenty of high-level amateurs on display, plenty of people that we can expect to see, moving on to those pro ranks soon with A1 and, again, potential for 4 more finishes for you guys here tonight. Lots of Tawfiq fans and supporters in the YouTube chat. He is up next, and he has a hot prospect again with 19-year-old Jafar Van Luke from Team Alpha Male. This one got a little heated at weigh-ins, Hector. Mr. Omari decided to bodylock pick up Jafar. I don't know if that was some sort of jest about the height differential, but definitely not to the liking of the staff and Jafar Van Luke as things started to get a little pushy between the two men. So they finally get to get their hands on each other tonight, and I'm excited to see if that bad blood can be settled between the two of them.
Yeah, well, now they get to settle in the cage. No more shenanigans at weigh-ins. This was a short notice fight, so I think it was less than 2 weeks notice for both these gentlemen.
Yeah, and here we see Uriah Faber out mingling with the crowd, so if you guys ever want to come meet Uriah, make sure you get your tickets to A1 or the Prospect Show. Garrett Furtek is entering the cage, ready to bring out bout number 8.
Making his amateur debut,
Okay, and making his highly touted amateur debut, we have Tofikala Omari. I apologize if I said that wrong. He steps into the cage for the very first time tonight, and he's bringing with him a very competitive mindset, a strong wrestling base, and a clear goal: to control the fight and get his hands raised. From the very little we were able to communicate due to language barrier, I did get that Omari has a background in boxing, and he says that his strategy tonight is all about wrestling. This debut means a lot to Omari, not just professionally, but personally. He spoke about the adversity of being far from his parents and how that separation fuels him in fighting. At the center of it all is his mother, whose encouragement has helped him to help push him to pursue this lifestyle and test himself in the cage. While tonight marks the start of his journey, Omari has big goals and one day anticipates becoming a UFC champion. Hector, we weren't able to get too much from Omari at the weigh-ins or backstage, but you know, the comment sections on YouTube's gone crazy. Plenty of supporters. The crowd is getting behind this fighter, and clearly an exciting prospect to see step in here tonight.
Yeah, it seems to me like he has a big following, especially for his first fight. This is quite impressive. I'm curious to see how things are going to happen in the cage for him.
Yeah, definitely. Like we mentioned, a little disappointing at weigh-ins. I'm all for sportsmanship. I don't think you should be putting your hands on them. You get your time later that night. So, like I said, hopefully we can see these guys be a little different after the fight. Yeah. Regardless, we see Omari stepping into the cage here now for our 8th fight of the night. Taking his time is Tofikala Omari as he gets ready to make his highly awaited amateur debut in the A1 prospect cage. Okay, now entering the cage in our red corner is one of the brightest young prospects coming out of Team Alpha Male. Jafar Van Luke, making his counter-sanctioned debut tonight, has an unblemished 3-0 record outside of the States. At just 19 years old, he's originally from Belgium and has made the move over here, and he already brings a wealth of competitive experience to the table. On the grappling circuit, he's made a name for himself with what I saw was a staggering 59 submission wins in jiu-jitsu competitions on Smooth Comp. He showcases an elite level of mat skills and has seemingly seamlessly transitioned into the MMA game. He has also very few words, but Van Luke describes his style simply as mixed, and it shows. He's been training, as Uriah mentioned, since he was about, I think he first came out here around 13 years old, so he's been training since he was very, very young, and he's well-rounded, disciplined, and efficient. His calm, composed demeanor was a standout trait for him, and as we mentioned, that was on full display here tonight at weigh-ins as he stayed laser-focused and professional despite the rowdy behavior from his opponent. He fights out the world-renowned team over at Team Alpha Male, and he's under some of the best coaches in the sport. Van Luke is surrounded by elite talent day in and day out, and it shows in the cage. He's predicting a first-round finish tonight, and given his control, composure, and submission pedigree, it is definitely a prediction that holds weight. But he has a tough challenge ahead of him tonight in Tofikala Omari.
Yeah, when I met Jafar, he was his head hit my shoulder, and now he's like well over my head. He's a tall kid. But yeah, he's a gamer. He's been training for so many years, and glad to be able to see him jump into the cage and put it all together.
Yeah, certainly. Both our fighters are in the cage, and we send it to Garrett Furtek to start the action. southpaw stance of Van Luke versus the orthodox stance of Omari, but Omari wasting no time to shoot in, looking to engage in the grappling against the jiu-jitsu practitioner. Clear height advantage for Jafar Van Luke, but clearly no concern from the Omari corner as he swings big.
Beautiful front teep. Beautiful angles on the cross.
Looping overhands from Omari and beautiful timing on that body lock. He has had both underhooks, but Jafar Van Luke able to remain composed and dig the underhook, looking to separate, create some distance, knee on the break. But Omari is relentless. He's throwing those haymakers and he's pressing Jafar Van Luke up with a clear intent to press the urgency to get this down to the cage. But that lead check hook landed on the chin of Van Luke.
Jafar's doing a good job of at least blocking to make sure that that left hook doesn't catch him on the chin.
Slip.
Nice check.
Yeah, slip from the Omari side, but immediately shoots on the up. Definitely looking to press this fight, perhaps not to the ground as he lands heavy blows, but at least to the cage, which will smother that length of Jafar Van Luke. So it is a smart approach, pressing back against the cage. But those calf kicks from Van Luke look like they're bothering Omari.
Yeah, he needs to bail on that spinning back fist. I think that's the third time he's thrown that. And Omari has been able to take advantage of that.
Referee Chad Shepard warning Omari for fingers in the cage. Big swing and a miss. Omari's just struggling to find his range, but we've talked about this a couple times tonight, and then those heavy shots have landed, and we've seen people having an early night, so definitely not out, but close round. I mean, cleaner game on the Van Luke side, but definitely more aggressive on the Omari side.
Yeah, I think Jafar Van Luke put a little bit more damage on him and dictated the cage just a little bit more. But Omari throwing haymakers and aggression. But I think definitely Jafar Van Luke edged it on that one. I think there's a water spill on the cage.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, two hot prospects. I don't think I've ever seen the chat on YouTube going this crazy. Definitely a lot of support for both of these guys. And like mentioned, Van Luke coming in here. He's making his U.S. debut. We've got Tofikala making his debut also, hence the shin pads. We're looking at 3 2-minute rounds. So by that logic, you'd think they'd be able to push this pace for the whole time, but Omari definitely leaving it all in there tonight.
Omari looks a little gassed. Let's see if he can keep up that pace. Beautiful kick setup by Jafar.
Van Luke struggling with the pressure and aggression of Omari. Omari is able to run him down. He's got to be careful. He nearly ducked into that knee and one to the head, which would not be on Van Luke, although illegal in amateur MMA.
Correct. He's starting to find the body with those knees, which is the right way to go.
Yeah, definitely. As you mentioned, just got to be a little careful with the dipping of Van Luke. But those calf kicks are really adding up for him, as we see Omari kind of limping on that lead leg.
I would say keep going for it if I'm Van Luke.
Yeah, definitely. And that's going to stop the forward pressure of Omari. Look, we see him kind of lose his footing as he tries to run forward. He eats that knee on the entry, able to finish the takedown, but he gets reversed. He's holding onto the cage. Chad Shepard potentially going to split it up here. He's taking a point. Omari loses 1 point for refusing to take his fingers out of the cage. And it still did not help him negate the offense as Jafar Van Luke sinks in a deep triangle, looking to attack the arm. That arm is going the wrong way. That might be it, guys.
Yeah, beautiful. Way to double down on that triangle. The arm bar's still there as well if he wants it. 2-for-1 special.
Beautiful job from Jafar. And referee Chad Shepard decides he's seen enough. Omari definitely not happy with that decision. But Chad Shepard perhaps saw an injury happening. The arm was bending the wrong way, and as we mentioned in amateur, we protect the fighters. They're not making money here. This is all about experience and fighter safety. Little disappointed with the poor sportsmanship from the Omari side, but I mean, visibly upset. Obviously, wanted the opportunity to tap and pull the fight himself. But yeah, that was deep.
So just on clarification on submissions at the amateur level, it is up to the discretion of the ref to stop the fight if they feel that the submission is far enough, or maybe if they even hear a voice or something verbal. This isn't a pro fight, so we don't want to see these guys get their arms broken. They're not even getting paid.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, Tofikula Amari, you know, he was having a lot of success. He was very aggressive, did leave himself open. You know, he was probably down on the scorecards, especially after losing a point. That fence grab didn't necessarily help him, but it did open up that triangle, and that armbar was deep. I thought it was, you know, I thought it was about to be finished anyway. Chad Shepard decided to save his arm, and, you know, that's the job of the referees. Sometimes fighters are a little too tough for their own good, and, you know, like I say, the referee is here for their safety, and Chad Shepard made the call and said that is all he needs to see.
Yeah, the referees, they warn him in the back, and they tell him, especially at amateur fights, that they will stop the fight early because it's an amateur fight. So Omari should not. He was warned. He was warned in the back, so it shouldn't come to him as a surprise.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, I don't know. I've been a martial artist for 15 plus years, and I'd like to see, if he comes back out here, I'd like to see a little bit better sportsmanship from him. He just pushed his way out of the cage, refuses to even be there for the decision, so we're going to send it to Garrett for the decision with Jafar.
Next time, the on-board brings on the referee stoppage. Official time, 1 minute, 21 seconds, round number 2.
It's a justified win by Jafar. Good amateur debut. Like I said, he's been training with the team for many, many years. He's literally a 12-year-old kid when I met him. Shout out Anthony Avila.
Lots of booing in the crowd here. You know, not too many people were disappointed with the result, but definitely disappointed with the what happened afterwards. So, you know, like I say, amateur is a place for people to learn. Hopefully these guys can come back and, you know, well done to Jafar Van Luke. That submission was locked, and I think should Chad Shepard have decided to leave it, that Omari was going to have a very uncomfortable night tonight with that arm. So hopefully when he has time to calm down and settle his emotions, he will be able to see that the referee did his job and in fact kept him safe and let him fight another day. Now he can come back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he's
something going down in the crowd, I think, perhaps. Really disappointing.
He's going to catch a fat suspension for sure for that.
Yeah.
Camo does not tolerate that kind of behavior.
No, definitely. And Camo actually gave him a formal warning at the weigh-ins that would not be tolerated. So I can't quite see from here what is going on, but Jafar still in the cage, waiting for things to clear up. Yeah, I got a feeling that might be the last we're seeing of Tofikala Omari. He may have just done himself a disservice.
Camo is governed by the California State Athletic Commission, so rest assured, if you caught a suspension at Camo, CSAC ain't gonna let that go. A great job by Jafar Van Luke. Put a little shine on his victory.
Yeah, definitely. Impressive composure from the young man. You know, that's a testament to himself. You know, to be able to stay composed in there.
Yeah, for his age, he maintained his professional composure from the weigh-ins all the way through this fight. It's a big testament to his maturity.
Okay, so whilst we're waiting, I guess let's quickly go over what's next for us. We have 3 more fights. Our next fight, as mentioned, is Derek Cook from Standalone MMA. The last one on the card for Standalone MMA. We've had a couple of their fighters out here tonight, and he's against Idris Barami from Taruzi Muay Thai. He's a 7 times Muay Thai champion, a 2 times K1 champion. So such a high level of striking pedigree coming in here. So you guys should definitely be on the edge of your seat for that one. And then we have our co-main event with Sam Tanner from MMA Gold, Louis Sakaria from Chris Holmes with Martial Arts. And finally, in our main event, we have Pete Dunlap, Underground MMA, versus Eric Betancourt from ATT and Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu. We're just waiting for our officials to be freed up from whatever's going on. Unfortunately, some people don't realize the show isn't all about them, so we're going to have to wait until we can see our next people.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for the rest of the fights. It's going to be exciting, especially with Idris Barami, Derek Cook. That'll be a banger for sure. Idris making his Emmy debut.
All right, so still waiting. Doctors got to check over our athletes, make sure that everything's okay before they get back cage side, ready to take care of the next fight. I'm sure there's some pent-up emotions being let out backstage, but we're nearly ready for our co-main event of the evening. And so far, I'd say we've had a great show. Plenty of finishes. Garrett Furtag bringing it in, ready to get Fight 9 underway. Okay, making his way to the cage, we have rising amateur with real momentum behind him. Derek Cook, he's entering tonight at 2-1, and he's coming off the biggest win of his career. A statement-making rear naked choke submission over the highly touted, undefeated Jake Carver at A1 Combat back in February. It wasn't just a win, it was an upset, and it turned lots of heads on the regional scenes. The brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Cook describes his style as grappling heavy, and if you've seen him fight, you know that that's no exaggeration. Both of his wins have come by submission, and tonight he's looking to do what he calls mauling him. Smother his opponent, impose his pace, and dominate on the ground. But it's not just grappling anymore. After identifying gaps in his striking, Cook has been heavily focused on his boxing, adding new tools to complement that dangerous submission game. And he says that he sees holes in his opponent's grappling and cage work that he fully intends to exploit tonight, whether it ends in submission or TKO. Cook's journey hasn't been without adversity. He did suffer a TKO loss in his debut back in March 2024. A tough start, but a turning point. Since then, it's been nothing but growth and finishes. He told us his last fight went easier than expected, and with each outing, he's getting sharper, more confident, and more complete. Inspired by his brother and UFC middleweight Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, Cook's motivation is clear. He's here to win, to keep building, and ultimately to either capture an amateur title or take the next steps into the professional ranks. I'm really excited as he steps in here tonight against the highly touted striker of Idris Barami to see if he can implement that grappling heavy game of his against the striker. So clear striker versus grappling here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, again, who implements their game plan. Especially if he trains with or associates with Fluffy, that's high praise. Shout out Fluffy Hernandez.
Okay, now stepping into the cage for his MMA debut tonight is a striker with a resume that demands attention, as we mentioned. Idris Barami represents Toru Z Muay Thai and is a 7 times Muay Thai champion, a 2-time WAKO K1 champion. Barami brings world-class striking credentials into the amateur MMA scene. This is a fighter who spent years sharpening his weapons in the stand-up world, and now he's ready to test that skill set inside the cage. Training under coaches Ignacio Zambrano and Joshua Rulig, Barami has been preparing for this moment with the same intensity and discipline that carried him through a decorated kickboxing and Muay Thai career. He credits his team for pushing him through the pain, mentally and physically, to get him fight ready. When asked about his approach to this fight, Barami was direct. No elaborate game plan, just fight and win. He's seen a few clips from his opponent, but his focus is on execution with the confidence of a striker who knows exactly what he brings to the table. While elbows may be off the table tonight under amateur rules, Barami joked and said that the only bad thing about this fight is that he can't put an elbow to his face, which tells you everything you need to know about how eager he is to put his tools to work. With UFC ambitions already in his sight, Barami isn't just here for the experience, he's here to make a statement and to start building the resume he'll need to reach the highest level of the sport. And this crowd is loud. I can barely hear myself talking, Hector.
Yes, looks like he brought the noise today.
Training under standalone MMA from California. This Muay Thai practitioner makes his amateur MMA debut, a member of Toru Z Muay Thai from Sacramento,
And we have the glove touch to start the fight, a refreshing show of showmanship. Oh, heavy knee from Idris Barami.
A beautiful entry into that double leg.
Precisely. Cook timed it well. In on that body lock, looking to reap the leg. And he gets the takedown. First takedown of the fight. Passes immediately to Mount.
Right to his back.
Barami gives up the back. And Cook immediately looking a little too high. He's riding a little high, but he looks to roll off for the armbar potentially.
Beautiful transition by Cook.
Armbar, that arm is bending the wrong way. And Chad Shepard stops it again. Arm looks to have been dislocated. Beautiful transitions from Derek Cook. What a testament to his ground game. And yet another first round submission on the record for Derek Cook. Amazing, truly impressive.
And that's a justified stoppage. That's an amateur stoppage.
Yeah, his elbow actually seems to be out of place. Doctor's looking to take care of that now as I don't want to watch them pop it back in. It's going to make my
I'm watching all of it.
It's making my stomach turn. But
oh, yeah.
Brutal armbar from Derek Cook. Another dominant submission against arguably another one of the toughest amateurs in the region. That we mentioned, such a high resume of striking that was just completely mitigated by that relentless grappling of Derek Cook. And at 3-1, you've got to think that Derek Cook has that whole division on watch.
Yeah, especially because the belt currently is vacant at amateur, and there's a little bit of a logjam at 170 if anybody follows the region. But Derek put himself right up there.
He almost had kind of like a Americana kind of variation as he rolled off for the armbar. I couldn't tell if the elbow popped on the transition or on the armbar finish, but definitely displaced. You can see the doctor still adjusting it.
They twisted so bad they can't even put it back in place. It can't pop in.
15 years of the sport, and it still makes my my stomach turn. That elbow looks gnarly.
Yeah, there you go. There's a repeat.
I think we're gonna get to see it here, right here.
He just spins it.
Yeah, we see Cook look at the referee. We see Cook look at the referee as the elbow pops, and unfortunately, this doubles down on why we see the referees step in those compromised positions, because unfortunately Bahrami looks like he's going to be out for a little while. Hopefully they can pop that back in. There's not too much significant soft tissue damage, but those joint injuries can be devastating, and for him to experience that in his amateur debut, I am very sorry, and I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. But that is gnarly to say the least.
And Bahrami wasn't gonna tap. He wasn't gonna verbally say anything. So that's why the ref had to step in, because he was just gonna keep going, and he didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah, lots of just debating in the YouTube stream. I know there's some complications a little bit with the video, but I promise you, I can see it from across the cage. He sat in that stool. That elbow is still out of place. His elbow is like around the front of his arm. It's pretty gross.
His right arm currently is a Twizzler.
It's not good. They're going to switch sides so that referee Chad Shepard does not have to hold the arm, and we send it to Garrett with the decision. I think you can see it in the video right here.
The Americana official time, 53 seconds. Number one, submission, Derek.
Congratulations again to Derek Cook from Standalone MMA. I am sure that Idris Bahrami is going to be on that first ambulance out of here to go get that elbow taken care of. We know the A1 team is going to be taking good care of him. Sorry, as someone that's dislocated my elbow multiple times, I don't like seeing that.
You can't even yank it back into place.
Yeah, he's going to be out for a little while. Wishing him a speedy recovery. Very unfortunate. I think that happened in one of the transitions, so perhaps didn't have time to tap. Yeah, very unfortunate.
He had absolutely no intention of tapping. Definitely did not. A big heart on his part.
Yeah, really unfortunate way to end. I mean, congratulations, Derek Cook. That was beautifully executed. His grappling was composed, and he did a great job of controlling those positions, staying ahead of it. I thought he was going to lose that back, and he used it to set up that arm lock and transitioned it into the arm bar. But yeah, the rough night for the Idris Bahrami. Not able to implement his striking tonight as he planned, and yeah, rough. So, on to our co-main event after the doctors have finished seeing to their current challenge. We've mentioned a couple times we have Sam Tanner for MMA Gold. It's his first time back in, I believe, 6 years. Just revisiting my notes really quick. And he's going up against a high-level grappler in the black belt of Luis Acaria, who trains under Chris Holdsworth and Darren Elkins and, you know, the likes of those fighters, trains with Josh Emmett. He's been in countless fight camps for these UFC athletes. You know, he's done countless Darren Elkins, Josh Emmett camps. So you've got to think that MMA has always been on his mind. I know he's toyed with it a lot. So, yeah, clearly a challenge worthy of the comeback of Sam Tanner, who's looking to show the improvements that he's made over the last 6 years.
Yeah, Lewis has decided to take a fight at 185. So he went up a weight class because he had trouble getting a matchup at 170. So
I correct you. He went up 2 weight classes. Lewis is looking to go back down to, I believe, 155 is his home weight class that he would like to be at.
Yep.
But as you mentioned, difficult time matching this guy. A high pedigree black belt, very limited MMA and striking experience, hence wanting to at least, you know, wet his feet in the amateur ranks, understandably so. So decided that the smarter route would be to take an amateur fight, test himself, and in needing to do so, he went up 2+ weight classes up to 185. So he's up 30 pounds. He actually weighed in, I believe, 10 pounds underweight, but his opponent came in a little lighter too. But yeah, Derek Cook making his comeback for this one. 6 years in the making. And yeah, just wanting to go out there and show the evolution that he has made. And what a test he has against him.
Yeah, Sam Tanner also, let's also note, he is also a black belt. So it's a black belt battle.
Happy to see a lot of people in the comments on the YouTube stream enjoying the fights. Just to recap what we've had a rear naked choke win. We've had the DQ. We've had TKOs. We've had decisions. We've had that last one still got me stunned. Sorry, that elbow was back to front. But yeah, we've had everything. Anything you could ask for in a fight night, we've had it. Knockouts, submissions, walk-off knockouts, TKOs. We've had people kicking off in the crowd. We've had the referees having to really step in and do their jobs, and the referees have been on their toes tonight. So shout out to them for being on it, because tonight has definitely presented plenty of challenges.
We've also had scraps too. The ladies came in and threw down a war.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. We've had, I think we've had the vast majority of the weight classes, females, males. We've seen every finish possible. We've seen everything. So hats off to A1. And as we mentioned, you can go look at any of the records of any of these guys. They're evenly matched. There's no one-sided padding here tonight. I didn't make a call on any of these fights when making my notes, and we've still been able to see dominance. So a true testament to this new wave of MMA that's coming through. And to mention, we've had like 50% of our card are under 21.
Yeah.
We got a few 19-year-olds. The girls were 20 and 21. Like, this is really like the new wave coming through. And it's so exciting to see, as we've mentioned, that these shows are now pumping into these grassroots and giving them the opportunity to display their skills. And yeah, I'm just so excited to see what the future is for these athletes. What have been your key takeaways tonight?
Well, yeah, the level on the card has been high. Like you said, everything's been covered. This is how you build the region. This is how you show the region off. You put them on display, and you let people fight and put it all on the line. So I'm excited to see what the other shows are gonna come of this, because these guys are gonna get put on the undercards for a lot of the A1 pro shows. So that's how you build. That's how you build a career. That's how you build experience. And again, like, I'm biased. I just cornered Hisaki. I'm excited to see what he's going to do next. So, very high showing on this event. Very well matched.
Yeah, definitely. So like you say, we're just waiting on our co-main event and our main event. But yeah, Doctor's definitely got a challenge with that last fight. So they're out there taking care of him, and they'll be back cage side ready for us to start again. So stay tuned. I think we're coming on up now. And yeah, keep commenting in the. I've got the YouTube stream up, so I'm trying to pay attention to you guys. So keep supporting, keep loving, keep telling us what you're thinking of the fights, and we appreciate it.
I'm not related to Aaron Pico either, just so you guys know. That came up on the talks.
Okay, and here we have Garrett Furtag finally ready to get our co-main event of the night underway. Okay, making his return to the cage, Sam Hillbilly Tanner out of MMA Gold, stepping back into action for the first time since 2019. With a 2-2 record and a BJJ black belt to his name, so we've mentioned Louis' black belt, but also a black belt is Tanner, and he is no stranger to the fight game. Tonight he's ready to show just how far he's come, describing his strategy in one word: violence. Tanner brings a raw, forward pressure style that has earned him a reputation as a tough fighter for anyone standing across him. He's been putting in serious work under the respected coaching of Tom Fallon and Jim West, and says that the improvements in his game over the past several years have been night and day. Tanner's last outing ended in a close decision loss, but he told us physically he felt great. And that's something he's carried forward into this camp. And now, after 6 years away from the cage, all eyes are on what kind of evolution we'll see tonight. He's coming in with a clear prediction: TKO. He's confident his opponent won't be able to hang on the feet, citing a grappling exclusive style, and he believes he can shut that down and punish him. Tanner's ultimate goal is to turn pro or earn a belt, and this fight marks the first critical step on that journey. He's gritty, he's experienced, and after a long time away, Sam Hillbilly Tanner is back, and he's coming in with bad intentions. Okay, and here comes a name that many of us in the grappling world have been waiting to see make the transition: Louis Acaria, making his long-anticipated MMA debut tonight. Training under UFC veteran Chris Holdsworth, Acaria enters the cage with a decorated jiu-jitsu resume. A black belt with titles from Fight to Win, Submission Pro Tour, and American Nationals. Also a silver medalist at the Nogi Worlds. This is a debut that carries a serious grappling pedigree. I've had the privilege of training alongside Louis over the years, and let me tell you, this move to MMA has been a long time coming. He's toyed with the idea, quietly sharpened his tools, as we've mentioned, training with the likes of Josh Emmett and Darren Elkins, and now the opportunity has finally arrived for him to showcase what he's capable of in a new arena. Akari's strategy is clear: use his striking to close the distance, get the fight to the ground, and impose the dominant ground game that has earned him those accolades. And with UFC standouts Chris Holdsworth and Darren Elkins in his corner tonight, both of whom played key roles in inspiring his path to MMA, he's surrounded by the very best as he steps into the cage. Interestingly, as we mentioned, he is fighting up 2 weight classes tonight due to difficulty finding an opponent, a testament to both the respect he commands as a grappler and the confidence he has in his preparation. And he told us he believes he's the better grappler in this matchup. He plans to exploit that, but behind it all, he credits the unwavering support of his wife, Emily, as the key to everything he has accomplished. And tonight, he has his sights set on winning this fight and making his way towards the Camo 155 title down the road. So here begins his journey.
We now produce for the blue corner. He stands 5'10", weighs 182 1/4 pounds. With 2 presenting Sam Hillbilly Tanner. Fighting on the red corner, standing 5'10". He weighs 175 1/4 pounds. Tonight he makes his amateur MMA debut.
Crowd is going wild in attendance tonight. Plenty of support for Louis Acaria, as we mentioned, a huge local favorite around here in the grappling scene, finally making his transition. But first, he has to get through Sam Tanner.
Yeah, I'm excited for this fight. Sam Tanner has 4 times the amount of experience. Ooh, nice shot.
Immediately in on that double leg from Louis. And as we said, clear path to victory for him. Tanner, unfortunately, unable to stuff that takedown as he had planned. But a black belt in his own right, so definitely not out of his depth here tonight.
Oh, front headlock position is exactly where Lou wants to be. Let's see if Sam Tanner addresses this appropriately.
Beautiful snap down from Louis as he looks to spin around the back. 1 hook in already.
Yeah, this is not trending well.
already got the arm trapped of Santana, looking to set up a reverse triangle and immediately attacking that arm.
He's isolated the arm.
Oh, that triangle is in deep, and Louis attacking that arm. We got the armbar and the tap. That is our third armbar in a row.
Yeah. That's a black belt.
And there we have it. Unfortunate for the return of Santana. 6-year layoff. Obviously not the result he was looking for, but he knew he had a tough challenge in the black belt of Louis Acaria. And what a dominant grappling display for Louis here tonight. Crowd going crazy. Wife Emily definitely looking relieved over there. And yeah, Darren Elkins and Chris Holsworth are pumped. They're jumping out of their seats in the corner. Yeah, phenomenally dominant display.
Yeah, and big ups to Santana for taking this fight. Like I said, he had 4 times the amount of experience, and he's fighting a debut guy.
Yeah, and he wasted no time. I mean, he said he was going to use his striking to set up the takedown, but he must have just decided he didn't need that. Not one punch was landed, and we finished that. We finished that ASAP. Congratulations to Louis on a successful amateur debut. I'm sure we will see Santana back in the future. Yeah, definitely a tough opponent to make a comeback with.
Yeah, absolutely. But given the fact that that Lou didn't take any damage, I'd like to see him hopefully jump in quicker. Hopefully jump in sooner than later.
So we started off the card with plenty of knockouts, and it looks like we're closing up with a run of arm bars. Be interesting to see what the main event's bringing, because boy, do they have some boots to fill as we go to Garrett Furtick for the official result.
The inverted triangle official time 55 seconds of round number 1. Declared winner by submission, Louis.
A very successful first showing for Louis Acaria. Pure dominance and grappling on display. No need for any striking as he flexes for the camera. Crowd going crazy, and rightfully so. You know, that's, like I say, a long-awaited debut. I believe Louis is turning 50 this week. I told him told him he's a little geriatric, but he proved me wrong. So congratulations to him.
Good on him. He took this on, again, this is like 2 weeks notice. It's a short notice fight. So
running back in for more photo ops. Family all in attendance here tonight, and yeah, he's living it. He's loving his moment. So congratulations to him.
beautiful moment. You know, you only win your Amy debut once, right?
Yeah, exactly, and he's living it. He's loving it. He's been talking about this for many years. I know he's had a mixed bag of advice as to whether he should do it or not, and safe to say he's shut up those naysayers, and I'd like to see him back in here.
Matching him up is going to be a nightmare.
No, definitely. I think we're going to have to push him over to those pro ranks relatively fast. But congratulations, Louis. Enjoy your win tonight, and hopefully Santana didn't sustain any damage. Fortunately, was able to tap, so perhaps took some note from the last fight. Okay, quick night for you guys. We started at 7:10. We got an intermission, and we're already nearly done at 10 p.m. It's only a few hours, so plenty of finishes. So yeah. Victoria in the comments saying hi. Hello, Victoria. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, how impressive. We have our main event coming up. Pete Dunlap from Underground MMA, Eric Betancourt from A2T Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu, and boy, do they have some shoes to fill, Hector.
Yeah, they sure do. But again, it's bantamweight. I'm excited for this. This is a good matchup coming up, especially for the main event. So, again, I'm biased. I'm a bantamweight. But yeah, shout out Lazy Bed. Thank you for that comment. I read that. I appreciate the love.
Yeah, crowd is definitely buzzing after that. We've just to run it back through, right? We had Arbaz Ahmed by rear naked choke, Gianni Bruzon win by DQ. Little unfortunate there, but great fight between the two prospects. We had Magomed Khan, Jitin Magomedov by TKO. We had Farzad Ahmadi by decision, Hisaki Kotoju by 20-second or less knockout, Sabrina Kuna by unanimous decision. Sorry, correct me on my time, Hector. I know it was under 10 seconds.
6 seconds.
6 seconds. That might be the fastest knockout I've ever seen. Back to the results. We had Danny Ghazi by KO. We had Jafar Van Luke by armbar. We had Derek Cook also by armbar. And then we had Louis Ikaria by armbar again in our co-main. And we are ready for our main event as we send it to Garrett Furtick one last time. Okay, walking in now, we have, we have Eric Betancourt. So, Pete Dunlap, my bad. So coming down the path, this man's running some serious momentum. Pete Stonefist Dunlap representing Underground MMA and entering tonight. Entering tonight with a 3-1 amateur record. Dunlap's coming off a devastating 23-second TKO finish at Sacramento State's Battle of the Hive back in March. It was a devastating liver shot delivered by way of a perfectly timed knee. It was violent, it was fast, and it showed just how dangerous he can be in the opening seconds of a fight. I apologize for my little mishap. I had miscolor-coded my notes. Anyway, making his way to the cage is 51-50 bantamweight champion Eric Betancourt. Representing the respected camps of American Top Team and Guerrilla Jiu-Jitsu, Betancourt enters tonight's bout with a 4-1 amateur record, including 1 submission and 1 TKO win to his name. A lifelong martial artist with a background in boxing, Betancourt has been rounding out his game in a big way, putting in serious work on the wrestling mats throughout this camp. He describes his approach tonight in 2 words: aggressive and relentless. Coming off a tough loss this past February at A1 Combat, Betancourt has made it clear he was disappointed in that performance, and he's put the hours in since, especially on his grappling. He has learned, evolved, and he's come back sharper. He sees his opponent tonight as dangerous but wild, and he plans to use that unpredictability against him, staying composed and calculated whilst hunting for a finish. With gold already around his waist and championship experience under the amateur lights, Betancourt has set his sights on something even bigger: pro and then eventually the UFC. And every step from here on out is proving that he belongs at that level. Tonight he looks to bounce back, make a statement, and remind the bantamweight division exactly who he is.
Blue corner at 5'10", weighs 136 and 1/2 pounds, holding a record 3 amateur wins, 1 by knockout, 1 by submission. 4 wins, 1 defeat, with 1 submission and 1 knockout. Splitting time between American Top Team and Gorilla Jiu-Jitsu from Modesto, California. Please welcome
Okay, referee Chad Shepard getting ready to start the action here tonight. A couple things that I didn't get to touch on. A little bit of fumbling over my words, unfortunately, but Dunlap's also, coming off that devastating 23-second TKO, but before that, another first-round finish by submission. So since losing his debut, Dunlap has rattled off 3 straight wins, all finishes, and all underlining the same point, that he doesn't just show up, he takes over.
Yeah, Dunlap is a very dynamic striker. He's got good flow, and he knows how to pull the trigger on those strikes.
Yeah, definitely. He claimed that his last fight ended too soon. He wasn't able to show off some of the things he wants, and he's got a tough matchup tonight against Eric Betancourt. So looks to me like he's going to have the time to do the work he wants to do.
Yeah, Betancourt is grapple heavy.
A little bit of talk to the referee, wondering if perhaps one of those knees went a little low, but both guys still engaging in the action. Relentless on that body lock is Betancourt.
Yeah, I'd like to see Betancourt pull out a reap. Oh.
Beautiful break and good job striking on the break for Dunlap.
Yeah, Dunlap found his range.
Ooh, up kick as Betancourt rushes in, but able to pass the guard, looking to secure side control. Potential slip. I couldn't tell if he hurt his shin on that kick on the check or if he just slipped on the mat, but great job from Betancourt to capitalize on that opportunity. Dunlap potentially looking to set up a guillotine. Doesn't quite look to have it deep, but certainly needing to be respected from Betancourt as he uses it to try to sweep up on top. Has to be careful in this position. Smart to let go of that guillotine, as we know the Von Flue is available when your partner passes to the opposite side of the body.
Betancourt moving to the front headlock now. Looks like he's working in his own submission.
Yeah, Betancourt looking to set up a guillotine of his own, potentially looking to set up a Darce. Nope, decides to start working to land some significant strikes. And beautiful job from Dunlap working to his feet and using it to get the takedown in reverse position. Phenomenal display from both of these guys.
Yeah, they're both locked in on their... Pete Dunlap now up to the top. Betancourt trying to get on that single. Lost it.
Amazing defense there from from Dunlap. Heavy blows from the Betancourt side. Dunlap in on that body lock. Gets the takedown. Almost loses top position. Loses his footing a little bit, but able to use that underhook to get back on top. Great scramble from both of these guys. Don't love that he seems to have kind of accepted bottom position there, hanging on the head for the guillotine.
Very guillotine happy, but he's not locking up the legs yet.
Yeah, Betancourt very smart. He stays composed. Doesn't, like I said, neither of these guys have an excessive amount of fights, but more experience than what we've seen tonight. And you're seeing that out here with this IQ, right? He's not getting flustered. He's staying calm even when that choke threat is there. And, I'm really impressed with the scrambles from both of these guys. This is a very technical first round for this fight.
Betancourt has all the right answers when it comes to Pete's submission offense. But Pete definitely has the striking advantage.
So this is our second and only 3-minute round fight, because both of these guys have more than 3 fights each. So we're looking at 3-minute rounds. We get a little bit more time for these guys to work here in our main event. A very tough round for the judges to score. Submission threats from Dunlap a little bit more, but I mean, Betancourt had his own submission threats and very back and forth with the scrambles, neither really able to establish significant control time. And both having some success with the strike. So, really impressed with both of these guys. Kind of a hard round to judge.
It's a toss-up round in my opinion as well.
One thing I do like, obviously we touched on Dunlap kind of conceding the bottom position a little bit by jumping those guillotines. He did do a beautiful job of using that to try to set up some sweeps.
He slipped.
Yeah, another slip.
But beautiful opportunity for Betancourt to take his back.
Yeah, and Betancourt does a great job of capitalizing on it. Obviously, unfortunate for Dunlap. Could happen to anybody. But both of these guys do a great job of staying composed and really capitalizing on the opportunities that presented to them.
Yeah, this is exactly where Betancourt wants to be. He can milk him for this whole round if he wanted to. Beautiful hand fighting position.
Nice. Looking to set up the body triangle is Betancourt.
He's in.
Nope.
Oh,
beautiful
by
hand
Dunlap.
fighting from Dunlap. And here's where we mentioned like the last round, not really able to establish control from either guys. This body triangle is a real dominant position in grappling, right? It's so hard to get out of this. And especially when you're threatening with the chokes, you're landing strikes. And Betancourt's doing a great job of mixing it up. He's landing those punches, giving him something to think about, and then trying to sneak the choke in, right? Doesn't even give Dunlap time to start addressing that lock around his body because he's so active trying to fight and defend what's happening up top. And as you mentioned, that could eat away the clock here and potentially, give away this round.
He can go back and forth between striking and shooting submission attempts all round long if he wanted to. He's doing a good job making those decisions. Oh, he's trying to transition him out. He gave up that body lock.
Yeah, great job from Dunlap staying composed. Oh, potential for another armbar. Just misses it. Great job from Dunlap on clearing that arm. Does see himself put into a triangle here. Able to clear his head. He needs to be careful striking from this position. He's leaving his head in that triangle position where we've seen multiple armbars tonight from this position.
He needs to address that arm immediately.
Yeah, certainly. Little bit too much eagerness to land strikes, but leaving himself in the submission. Fortunate enough to clear his head yet again. Would love to see him not put himself back in there, which he didn't. He chose to stand. Great composure from both of these guys, despite only being at the amateur level.
Excellent back take by Betancourt. I think he's trying to point to the glove.
Yeah, Dunlap pointing, saying something to the referee, perhaps a glove grab complaint, but Betancourt able to go from the back to top full guard position.
Yeah, this position in amateurs is not good. If you're on the bottom.
There goes the 10-second clacker for the second round. Looks like we're going to be seeing the third and final round. Beautiful scrambles on display from both these guys, and they're kind of negating each other's game because both of them have such a high level of grappling here, right? We're seeing that. We're seeing both of them have control time. It's very back and forth. There's submission threats on either side. Dunlap fortunate with that triangle and the armbar attack, kind of struck his way out, which isn't always advised, but able to stay safe. And another back and forth round. You have to think that Betancourt edged it purely on control, landing some strikes on the back, threatening the submission. So you have to think he won that round. First round being a toss-up. I dare say that the corner team have got to press urgency to either win this third round decisively or get the finish.
Yeah, I agree. First round was a toss-up. I thought Betancourt definitely took that second round, especially with that second back take after he got out of the after Pete got out of the body triangle.
Okay, and with that, we got seconds out. We're getting ready for our third and final round of our main event. This is the last round you guys are going to see from us tonight. And two very high-level guys to close out the show for you.
Yeah, from Pete Dunlap, I'm striking.
Betancourt immediately coming out, controlling the center, looking very determined. Immediate shot attempt straight to the back. He does a great job of using that underhook to kind of set up coming around, taking the back. Throwing in a hook, looking to threaten with that, but unable to really establish the control.
His timing's great on that. And way to address that over, but he's already scooping for the under.
Great job from Dunlap reversing position here. Both of these guys, as you say, are very positionally aware. Beautiful knee. There's that knee that we saw in his last fight. Didn't quite land in that liver position, but definitely looks to have hurt Betancourt a little bit.
That one was a close knee.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, those knees from Dunlap are brutal, but the relentless grappling of Betancourt is definitely kind of negating the power of those. You know, he's kind of smothering him.
Oh, nice ninja choke attempt.
I thought he had that, but
I thought he did
Betancourt able to break him down on that single leg, but Dunlap able to stay on top, look to spin around to take the back, potentially.
Betancourt made the right move. He needs to fight the hands, get that underhook.
Yes, certainly. Betancourt able to finish that single leg, looking to establish some semblance of control now as he passes up to side control.
There needs to be work done from this top position.
Yeah, certainly, but also from the Dunlap side, you know, a little bit more urgency. Lane, anytime you're flat on your back, you're not able to defend, you're not able to threaten, you're just a sitting target. He's doing a good job now, starting to work to his side, potentially looking to threaten with the legs, perhaps throw up a triangle or some sort, just give him something to think about.
Dunlap
But
going to the single.
great job getting his underhook and climbing up on the single leg. Beautiful reversal from Dunlap. Builds up to the double leg, looks to take him down, but Betancourt able to reverse position. Dunlap immediately reverses also.
That was nice by Dunlap.
These wrestling exchanges from these guys are beautiful.
Yeah, Dunlap didn't sit on that sweep, which was good.
Ooh, heavy lead hook lands on the chin of Betancourt, who's definitely starting to look a little bit lumbered with his striking. This is a hard pace to push. You would know, Hector.
Yeah, no, definitely. We got to see who wants it at the end.
Final 10 of the third round, and you got to think we're looking at judges' scorecards. But what a pace and what a technical clinic here to close out the night, Hector. What are you thinking?
No, great main event. It was a very great showing the skill on both guys. I think Betancourt might have edged that last round, possibly, with that last takedown, possibly. It was tight, though.
Yeah, two very tight rounds. Betancourt winning the second. A little bit better composure at the end. You know, we talk a lot about body language. Dunlap kind of sitting on the floor, staying down, looking at fatigued. Obviously, the judges have already made those decisions, but, you know, body language also goes a long way in these rounds that are close. You know, if you look fresh and you've come out, you've had a good round, and you're feeling good, sometimes that does weigh a little bit on the judges in terms of thinking that you've maybe taken less damage, you know? So, hands up from the Dunlap corner, though, looking confident, looking excited. A little bit of showmanship over there in the corner. We love to see that. As we've mentioned a few times, we love a bit of showmanship from our fighters. Good sports, being good sportsmen.
That was a great main event. Both of these guys definitely put on a show. High-level scrambles. Great pace by both gentlemen.
Good, and we're just waiting for the, everyone's doing their pleasantries, saying thank you. At the end of the day, like you say, this is a sport. Emotions get heated, but what a great display. Both of these guys can leave here tonight with their heads high and be proud of that performance. And Garrett is in the cage ready to make the official decision for your main event here tonight and close out the A1 Combat Prospect Series. Over to Garrett.
For the decision. Your first judge, Marcel Brown, he's at 29-28, Betancourt.
Oh, wow.
Your second judge, Wade Phillips, he's at 29-28, Dunlap. And your third judge, Don Frank, he's at 29-28. Winner by split decision. Each.
As we mentioned, it came down to that first and third round, super close. Split decision win for Pete Dunlap, but amazing performance from both of these guys. Don't think either can call it a robbery there tonight. We said it's a very close fight, and yeah, very impressive from both of these guys. Just want to take a minute as we start to close out the show to just say thank you guys again for tuning in. Just to remind you, I'm Corey McKenna, and besides me is Hector Fajardo. And yeah, it was an honor to be on the commentary tonight, have you guys listening. And yeah, we appreciate the support. Tune in next time for some more local talent.
Happy